Okay, you are live. We're a minute early.
Ooh.
Okay, excellent. Okay, it's very pink. It's so pink. I love it. Oh, good. You wanna? Oh, now it's spooky.
Spooky.
It's either pink or spooky. What do we want here? Okay. We're just setting things up. Hi, everyone. Oh, get the lights on. Okay. Hi.
How's that look?
Let's see. Ooh. Ow, my leg. Yeah, that's fine. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Hi. Okay. It's 3 o'clock, and we are going to do part 2 of Rapunzel and the Lost Lagoon. I'm very excited. We had a lot of fun with part 1. Ooh, that's kind of like, there we go. I kind of want to like prop it up this time a little bit more.
Substance reverse.
I'll just use the Vanishing Village. Oh.
There you go. That works.
And the Silver. Okay. Do I spy an Elsa plush beside Cass? I don't know, do you? Perhaps. There we go. Looks good. Yeah.
No sudden movements.
There we go. Cool. I think that's secure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Wee.
Did you want a blankie?
Yeah, okay.
You good? Okay. It's freezing. It's absolutely freezing.
Yeah, it snowed yesterday.
It snowed yesterday. We watched Frozen. It was great. Ugh, there's so many friends. There we go. Is that going to be annoying if that bounces?
Doesn't really move.
No one bounces. Okay.
All right.
Here today we have Queen Ariana, mom of the decade. We're going to put her somewhere. We're going to put her here. And then we have She Who Must Not Be Named, which we will cross out at some point during this. All right.
So when we last left off, the novel had caught up to the first season of Tangled the series.
Yes.
So they have already discovered the Black Rocks.
Yes, the Black Rocks have been introduced.
And at this point forward, Rapunzel's hair is obviously therefore back.
Yes.
And
Back in action.
So this is officially part 2.
Part 2 of The Lost Lagoon by Leila Howland.
Part 2.
A gem of a book. What page are we on for those reading along?
We are on page 89.
89. All right. All right. And welcome back to those of you who are coming back for part 2. We're very excited to do this again. Your feet are cold?
Your feet are cold.
Do you want? I can get you a blanket.
That's okay.
I'm going to get you a blanket.
It's okay.
No, you're the princess. I have to get you a blanket.
I'll warm up. We
I'll
turn the
get
heat
you the
on.
frozen one.
We turn the heat on to like 80 because we're weak. And it's May and it snowed. And I'm sad. Hey, blankie. All right. So this time we're gonna have a yay.
We have our frozen blanket. Okay, here we go. This time we're gonna have what?
This time we're gonna have a clean.
Clean. Rapunzel's not gonna swear this time.
Yay. Much
I'm
better.
wearing my chain today. I'm different. I'm fancy now.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Chapter 12.
Part 2. There they are. I think you're blanking. Sorry.
Is the grass even greener than before? I asked Cass as we made our way down the emerald path to the lagoon for the first time in 6 months. It had only been a few days since I told Eugene the truth about my hair, and it had been haunting me until now. The warm spring breeze wiped away my guilt as it fluttered the leaves above us. I couldn't stop smiling. The stormy season had been long and cold, but today felt like summer, at least in the sun. I stopped and picked a blade of grass. It's a brighter shade, closer to parakeet than emerald. Parakeet? Cass asked, her maps and drafting tools under her arm. Green is green, Raps. She gestured for me to keep walking. Come on, we can't spend all morning looking at the grass. We have to make the most of our time at the lagoon. The
what? The Hervanian royalty.
Whomst?
I don't know. Who's Hervana?
The Hervanian royalty are arriving tonight for their long stay. And the Hidden Moon Festival is coming up. Your schedule is going to start getting crazy again. Mm-hmm. Will you tell me what the festival is all about again? I asked, tucking the blade of grass into my pocket and hurrying to catch up with her. I couldn't believe there was another big event coming up so quickly. The coronation had only just happened. It's usually called the Flower Moon Festival because it's in April, Cass said. And that's when all the flowers begin to bloom, I said, noticing a patch of purple snapdragons at the base of the boulder. Yeah, I guess people are into that kind of thing, Cass said as we climbed. So every year, on the first full moon in April, all the villagers come to the castle to show off their skills and to learn from the others. And there's a performance and a big ball, of course. This year is going to be bigger than ever because it's a hidden moon, hence the change of the name. An eclipse, I said. Exactly, Cass said. Some people think that's good luck. Others think it's bad. What do you think? I asked, as we lowered ourselves into the gulch. The water was colder than I remembered. I'm not superstitious, Cass said, leading the way. All I know is that you and I are going to be very busy. The Queen has put us in charge of a lot. We'll be kicking off the festivities by showing off one of your talents. Like painting? I asked. Don't take this personally, but it's not too exciting to watch someone paint, especially for a crowd. I was thinking more like fencing, she said. Sure, that'd be fun. And then I'll have to lead a few activities while you'll be expected to make appearances all over the festival. Show your face, shake some hands, kiss some babies. You get the idea. Wow, I said, as the lagoon came into sight. I'd forgotten how beautiful it was. The water was a derp. The water was a derp. The water was a deep turquoise, and the sun glinted off the surface like tiny sparks. I sat on the mossy bank and leaned over to test the water with my hand. I'm going to explore over here, Cass said, pointing toward the opposite side of the lagoon. That's where I need to fill in the missing places on my maps. Okay, I said, staring at my reflection on the surface. My eyes grew wide. The sight of my hair still surprised me. I dipped my toes in the water. It was chilly but wonderful, and I couldn't help thinking of the time I'd spent here with Cass, teaching her how to swim. My stomach tightened, as it did so often these days when I thought about how angry Cass would be if she knew I told Eugene the truth about our night out. I just needed to convince her that she could trust Eugene. Then she'd understand and everything would be okay. I wondered if it was too cold to wade as I hiked my dress and sank into my calves. Yes, it was, but the water was no less beautiful for its temperature. This has to be something important, Cass called, bringing my attention back to the moment as she looked out from behind the waterfall. What? I asked, rushing over to her. Check it out, Cass said. What had been a gushing waterfall a few months ago was now just a faint trickle. What happened to the waterfall? I asked. The storms are so wild. Maybe the landscape shifted and redirected the water. But Raps, she said, pointing. Look what was hiding behind it. Without the solid wall of water falling from above, there was a good view of the space underneath the waterfall. There was a semicircle of smooth, flat rocks forming a table of sorts. It looks like it was built by people, I said, stepping into the chilly water. What is it, though? Cass asked. A historian could answer that, I said excitedly. If this was a clue, we'd be one step closer to solving the mystery of the lagoon's ancient power. And that seemed more important than ever. Something I could do that would help my kingdom and not disappoint my parents or hurt my best friend. We need to see Xavier, Cass said. He's the only one who might have the information that will help put this all together. You're finally getting that history lesson you've been waiting for.
It's me!
Chapter 13.
Chapter 13, page 94 of The Lost Lagoon.
I gotta look at them.
I know! And there's Mom. Do you want to...
Yep.
Are you going to cross it out?
We'll wait until she gets mentioned.
Oh, does she get mentioned?
I think so.
Okay. Chapter 13, Cassandra. Getting wraps through the market to Xavier's shop wasn't easy. She was so easily distracted by the shops and vendors. To be honest, I loved the market too, but we were on a mission after all. Oh, Cass, do you smell that? She asked as we walked by the baker's shop. I did smell something delicious, but I had to keep us on track. Priorities, I said, guiding her onward, even though my mouth watered and my stomach growled as the scent of baked goods wafted toward us. And look, there's a paint seller, she said, pointing to a girl about our age with curly red hair tied back in a ponytail. If I knew that there was someone in town selling art supplies, I'd visit the market more often. We have such a busy day, I said, trying to keep her on task. We don't have time to go shopping. 1 second, she skidded to a halt. Are you suggesting we don't buy some of those pastries? Perhaps if the princess visits the baker is going to want to have her whole family greet you, and it would be rude if you didn't oblige her. It'll only take a second if you go and buy them.
Oh.
Wait. She said, oh, there's a typo. She said, I'll wait here. I think that's supposed to be Rapunzel. I said,
Oh.
Yeah, boop, boop. Miss Howland.
Oh my God.
It'll only take a second if you go and buy them, she said. I'll wait here. Okay, I said, more quickly than I cared to admit. Fine, but put your cloak on. We don't have time for a fan club meeting. The smell got to you, didn't it? She asked. Be right back. Your adventure cloak. I went inside to buy the pastries. When I returned, Raps was chatting with the paint seller, despite her promise to stay put. Excuse me, I said to the paint seller, taking Raps by the arm. We're in a rush. Ha! Oh, but the girl started, but I gave her a curt smile and hurried Raps along. Bye, Dahlia. Oh, it's Dahlia. Raps said, waving to her over her shoulder. I unwrapped the pastries as we walked and handed one to Raps. She's nice, Raps said, and she's a professional artist. Maybe she could teach art at the festival. The official castle portrait painter does that already. Come on, let's eat and walk, I said. I couldn't help it. I devoured the pastry. It was delicious, warm, and sticky with half-melted sugar and topped with blackberries and cream. This is pretty good. Good? More like the best thing I've ever eaten, Raps said, wiping her hands on her hanky. Raps, your middle name is Hyperbole, I said. What can I say? Like a lot of things. And we're here, I said, gesturing to the entrance of Xavier's shop. The shop was small and dark, but as neat and as organized as my weapons closet. Hammers, anvils, chisels, and nails hung on one wall. Horseshoes, keys, and locks hung on another. Raps and I pulled up a pair of tools while Xavier stoked the furnace. Princess, it's such a great honor to meet you. I'm so glad you've come to my shop, Xavier said with a bow. It's I who am honored to meet you, Rapunzel said with a curtsy. I know I have so much to learn about Corona and that you're the man to help. You flatter me, Xavier said, but I'll do my best. Now, if you can wait just a moment, I'll be right with you ladies. I must get the morning fire stoked for the day's work. Are those the new style of daggers I've been hearing about? I asked, admiring weapons on a nearby table. Indeed, Xavier said. The king has ordered them for the guard. They're the most dangerous daggers I've seen. In what way? I asked. Feel this, he said as he handed a dagger to me. It was so light. I ran my finger along the thin blade. My pulse quickened with excitement. 6 months had been a long time to think about nothing but princess stuff. It can cut through armor as though it were paper. It would be terrible if one got into the wrong hands. Danger had been on my mind lately. Ever since Raps's hair had grown back, I'd been living with a marble of fear that bobbed back and forth between my stomach and throat. Yes, we've gone on adventures before, but this one had rocked the kingdom. Get it? Rocked?
Eh.
The king and queen were trying to believe that she had acted alone that night, but they were uneasy. They sensed that there was a missing piece. The thought of going to a convent, or whatever punishment they might come up with, kept me up at night. And what was worse was the thought that I would never be part of the Coronan Guard. Every time this thought passed my mind, I broke out in a cold sweat. What I needed more than ever was to take control of my future, to show that I was a Coronan through and through. Oh.
Honey, sweetie, you done messed up.
Oh, boy. I needed to discover the ancient power of Corona. Well, she does that. Nope. And Elsa's like, nope. I needed to solve the mystery of Lagoon. That would grant me freedom. Xavier sat down with us. I handed the dagger back, handle first, in the manner of a trained soldier. Kind of, I guess. Where's my dagger? Okay. So, Xavier said, rubbing his hands together, how may I be of service? Well, I have many questions about the history of Corona, Rapunzel started. What do you think this is? I asked, cutting to the chase and handing him Raps' sketch of the semicircle of stones. Xavier cleared his throat and studied it for a moment. Looks like an ancient Siporian ceremony circle. Where did you find this? On the outskirts of the village, I said, before Raps could respond. She was too honest for her own good sometimes. Hey, the one by the community stables, Xavier asked. Yes, I said. What kind of ceremonies took place at these circles? Raps asked. All kinds, Xavier said. Birth celebrations, death rituals, weddings, harvest prayers, you name it. I can direct you to more of them if you like. They are beautiful, aren't they? That's some first-class stone masonry. Is there anything else I can help you with? Actually, yes. We want to know more about this poem, Raps said, pushing the book across the table to him. Oh my, what do we have here? Xavier asked, the corners of his eyes crinkling with a smile as he read over the poem. An actual physical copy of the Lost Lagoon? You know it? She asked. Of course, he said, the smile spreading across his face. Though a printed edition, why, this is rare indeed. His large hands delicately turned the pages of the book. Where did you find this? In the library, Raps said. Libraries hold great treasures, and this is a true gem, Xavier said. Raps and I exchanged a quick smile. What do you know about this poem? I asked. The Lost Lagoon is one of the oldest poems in Corona. It's a legend that's been handed down by word of mouth alone. At least that's what I thought. Turns out it's been written down as well. Fascinating. Legend? I asked. So you're sure no place like this exists? This is just a poet's fancy. A long time ago, before even I was born, people searched high and low for this place. They could never find it, even those cartographers who made their life's mission to chart every inch of this kingdom. Really? I asked. It was pretty hard not to smile, knowing I had outsmarted a bunch of old cartographers. Really? Xavier said, and he held up the book. What you have here is just a story, but it intrigued you, so that means it's a good one. People think it's easy to write a romance, but it's not true. Only the great love stories last. A romance? Raps said. Tell me more. I thought the poem is about Corona's greatest power, I said, not love. It's about both, Xavier said, and stroked his chin. You know the story of Hertzterson and General Champagne, right? Oops. No. Whom? Where do they get these names? It's not even like champagne. It's like shrimpagner. General Shrimpy. Sorry. I'm sorry. I can focus. I can't focus today. No, Raph said. Surely you know it, Cass, Xavier said. We commemorate it every year when we celebrate the Day of Hearts. I've heard the story, but I never really paid attention to the details, I said. Xavier raised his eyebrows in surprise. What? I'm not really a hearts kind of girl. I gestured to Raps. She'll eat it up. Yes, tell me, Raps said. More than 200 years ago, the king of Corona, Hertzterson, created a system of tunnels to move knights and supplies around the kingdom, Xavier said. We were at war with Seporia after all, and these tunnels gave us strategic advantage. I've heard of them, Rap said, glancing at me uneasily. The tunnels had played a crucial role in getting Rapunzel out of the kingdom the night her hair had grown back. He had kept detailed maps of these tunnels in a book, Xavier said, and General Champagne, the ruler of Seporia, stole it. She was a serious warrior and was going to use the tunnels to attack Corona. She probably would have conquered us, but at the end of the book, she discovered Hertzterson's love confession. He was head over heels for this strong, intelligent woman. Really? Rap said. Xavier nodded. That's so romantic. What does this have to do with the lagoon? I asked. What do
You keep falling.
Oh. This poem was written during the era of unity, when Hertzterson and General Champagne married and joined the countries together to create Corona as we know it, Xavier said. There was an explosion of romantic poetry, and the Lost Lagoon was one that really captured the people's imagination. Are you sure there isn't a military tale in there as well? I asked. We're talking about the greatest power in Corona, right? That can't be cuddling. Cass laughed at me. I'm no scribe, but of course it takes place during a conflict, Xavier said. Otherwise, where would the drama be? Xavier, a man said, who emerged from the back room. He had dark hair and piercing blue eyes, and was so tall that he had to stoop to clear the door frame. He was holding one of the new daggers. I believe we can make this dagger even more deadly by adjusting the radius of the... He looked up, noticing us for the first time. Hello there. This is my new assistant, Marco. He's a man of many talents, Xavier said. Thank you, Marco said, and he smiled enthusiastically. Marco, this is the Princess Rapunzel and her lady-in-waiting, Cassandra. I'm honored, Marco said with a bow. Rap smiled and nodded in response. I've heard so many wonderful things about you, Princess. To what do we owe the distinction of this visit? These young ladies have discovered an actual copy of the old poem, The Lost Lagoon, Xavier said. That's remarkable, said Marco, focusing on the slim green book. Isn't it? They've found a treasure in the royal library. One of the few copies of the poem, yes, of course, Marco said. I just knew amazing things would happen if I came to work for you, Xavier. And here's the perfect example. The legend about the ancient power of Corona has always been one of my favorites. So you believe it's about more than love? That's me talking, I asked Marco. Absolutely, Marco said. Do you think it's real? Raps asked. Unfortunately, no, but it's nice to dream, isn't it? Said Marco. I'm a bit of a dreamer myself. I have to agree, Xavier said, as Marco returned to the back room. Fanciful imaginings help us lose ourselves, and we all need to be a little bit lost sometimes, don't we? It's how we find our way. That's really true, Rapunzel said with a look of wonder. So you're 100% sure there's nothing real about this, no ancient power to be discovered? I asked. I was not about to let this turn to a discussion about dreams. Yes, said Xavier. We need to get going, I said, glancing at the sun lowering outside of the window. We do? Raps asked. You have a dance lesson, remember? I said. If I don't have you dressed, shoed, and ready to allemande in 30 minutes, Monsieur Lafleur will have me pirouette right off a cliff. He's a good teacher, Rapunzel said, though I could tell she was trying not to laugh. Just a very punctual man. Come on, Raps, I said, nodding toward the door. Let's go. Doo-doo-doo. As I straightened her dress before her dance class, Rapunzel said, I wish you'd just let me tell Eugene the whole truth about the night my hair grew back. No way, I told her. I wish you would understand what kind of person Eugene is, Rapunzel said. I trust him with my life. Right, your life. This is mine. And I'm not getting banished if I can help it. Hello, girls. Queen Ariana. Oh, okay. Queen Ariana said, releasing a shot of adrenaline into my veins. Gosh, she walked quietly. I guess practicing graceful movements did pay off. My palms, suddenly sweaty, fumbled with the buttons of Raps's dress. Even more than the king, Queen Ariana seemed to sense that Raps's story didn't add up. Hi, Mom, Raps said. Hello, I said, focused on my task. Rapunzel is ready for her dance class. Not a minute too soon, Queen Ariana said as the clock struck. Or a minute too late, Raps said with a smile, and dashed inside the ballroom. I curtsied to the queen and hurried to Rapunzel's room to set out her gown for dinner, my heart beating in time to Monsieur Lafleur's metronome.
All right, chapter 14. All right, we are on page 107. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Monsieur Lafleur counted. He clapped the rhythm with his hands while I attempted to allemande with an imaginary partner. Light on your feet, arms in a frame, and turn a rosette. I tripped over myself, and Monsieur Lafleur signaled the musicians to stop. He clicked his tongue and shook his head. No, 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 no. This will never do.
I have your hair. It's your blonde hair in my sock. Sorry.
He drew in a deep breath through long, quaking nostrils. Princess, in order for you to allemande, your mind as well as your body must be present.
No, 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 no.
No, 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 no.
No, no, no.
You two must work in harmony. Otherwise, the dance is flawed. Yes, monsieur, I said, bowing my head. I couldn't get my mind off of the fact I told Eugene about my adventure with Cass. She didn't suspect us to sing, and it made that worse. Rapunzel's just getting herself deeper and deeper.
Yeah, Rapunzel's digging a hole.
It's like a lie upon a lie upon a lie. Let's see.
But you do it for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't suspect a thing, and that made it worse. It had felt so right to finally tell Eugene the truth, but my guilt over Cass nagged at me. I'm sorry, I have a lot on my mind. Body, mind, and soul must come to unite in this opulent dance, this purest expression of elegance. Are you ready? I think so. Very well, he said, and the musicians began again. I had just started to demi-coupe and fluette when Monsieur Lefet said, What about your curtsy? Mon chéri, curtsies cannot be cast aside like old cabbages. Oops, I said. We need Eugene, he said. I should have known. We do? I asked. I loved Eugene, but I wasn't sure why he needed to be at this specific dance lesson. Of course, you are in love. There is nothing more distracting. One must simply surrender to amour. I think you're right, I said. Though it wasn't thoughts of Eugene that were distracting me, and he definitely would make this dance class more fun. Monsieur Lefleur went to find him, and I went over why I had done the right thing by telling him that Cass had been the one to take me outside the kingdom. Our relationship depends on openness and trust. He's my partner in all things. The secret of the lagoon is between Cass and me. I would never betray her, but my hair is mine, and the way it grew back is one of the biggest things that's ever happened to me. It's my weight to bear. I can't keep it from him without putting a wall between us. When Eugene walked through the door with that mischievous smile on his face, my heart shone. You get into positions, my doves. The music began. Eugene bowed and I curtsied. He knows me, I thought. In the midst of the chaos of having defied my parents and my hair growing back, it felt so good to be known. And I knew him too. He wasn't going to tell a soul that Cass had been the one to take me out of the kingdom the night my hair had grown back. Eugene could be trusted. I'm glad I told you, I whispered. Me too, he said. For a second, I rested my forehead on his chest. Ahem, Monsieur Lefleur said. I know that dance is romantic, but we must resist breaking form. It is in the tension of desire and resistance that the dance lives. This guy is quite a philosopher, Eugene muttered under his breath. I giggled, but I couldn't put my mouth straight when Monsieur Lefleur shot me a serious look. But I pulled my mouth straight. Eugene and I held each other's gazes as we danced the allemande across the ballroom. We were stepping to sync and moving on the beat. In fact, I could barely feel my feet touch the floor. Beautiful, Monsieur Lefleur said as we flew through the room, all steps of the dance coming together with the music exactly as they were supposed to. Charming! For a moment, I felt like maybe, just maybe, everything was going to turn out okay.
Oh, and now it's me.
Now it's you.
Everything will turn out okay, huh? I need to, sit up here. Chapter 15. Solved. Where's the fire? Eugene asked, seeming to appear out of nowhere. I was on my way to pick up Raps's new dress. His voice made me jump. Out of my way, Fitzherbert. I'm in a rush, I said, collecting myself. Raps was having dinner that night with Hervanian royalty. We're in Corona for an extended visit and to take part in the Hidden Moon Festival. Hervon, a small but feisty country, had at last made gestures of peace toward Corona, and the king and queen were eager to make their reconciliation official. Queen Ariana had asked that Rapunzel wear a gown made from blue silk, and that the Marquis and the Duchess had sent as a gift. Friedborg had been sewing it for months, and it was finally ready. Not all of us spend our days getting massages, I continued. Some of us have work to do. I pushed past Eugene and resumed my quick pace. I had been avoiding him like a pox. He hadn't stopped pestering me about how Raps was doing since her hair had grown back. He was worried that she wasn't sharing her feelings. Ugh. No matter how many times I told him that I had no idea what was going on, he wouldn't leave me alone about it. Just yesterday, he'd said, "I can tell you know something." "Not a thing," I'd replied. An easy smile had spread across his lips, but I wasn't having it. "Oh, don't try that stuff on me." "Cassandra," he said, just as I was about to round the corner to the Queen's chambers. "I'm working, Eugene," I began again. I know, you're busy," he said, leaning against the wall. "What is it?" I asked with a sigh, "because I've already told you I know nothing about the hair." Cassandra, just relax, will you? For a second, maybe? I just wanted to let you know that I'm hoping we can be friends. Whatever I've done to make you so annoyed with me, I apologize. Can't we start fresh? I see what you're doing, Fitzherbert. You're trying to get me calm and off guard, hoping I'll crack. But there's nothing to crack. I know nothing. So just forget about it. Go work on your smolder on someone else. Actually, that's not what I'm doing, he said. Please, I said. Eugene was always trying to get something. You're not trying to squeeze me for information? I examined his face for any indication of lying, like twitching lips or rapidly blinking eyes. No, he said, as though he didn't have a worry in the world. Surprise and fear flashed across his face. No, he said, lying through his teeth. Ah, yes. Here was the Eugene I knew. He stammered. Rapunzel told me something about you? Never. That's the farthest thing from the truth. Rapunzel didn't say a word about you in that night. My chest began to tighten as if pulled into a corset. Reading faces to detect lies was part of a guard's training. His symptoms were classic. Tiny beads of sweat on his upper lip, shifty eyes, hiccups. She'd told him. Cassandra, I really think you're jumping to conclusions. You're a terrible liar, I said. You're scary, Eugene said. I mean, look, hiccup. I'm not going to do that. We had a discussion about what happened. I won't say a word, I promise. I know you don't trust me, but you can trust me. The air felt too thick to breathe. I strode to Friedborg's room, gathered the blue silk dress from her hands, and then ran back to my chambers to gather myself. I immediately started to pack, throwing my belongings into a bag. I wasn't about to hang around here long enough for anyone to catch me. I'd leave in the night. What was the point of staying in Corona? I couldn't trust my best friend. I couldn't go on even one little adventure without risking being sent to a convent. My chances of making it into the guard depended on finding an ancient power that had eluded us for so long, it would probably take years to find. What kind of life was this for me? I opened my weapons closet and picked out the most essential items to bring with me. Why would Rapunzel do this when she knew the consequences for me? The blue silk dress hung like a ghost of her. What were you thinking? I asked the dangling dress. You just had to tell your boyfriend? What about our friendship? Doesn't it mean anything to you? How could I have been so stupid as to trust her? And what else had she told him? Did he know about the lagoon? Had he known all this time about the swimming? The tower struck 5. She was done with her dancing lesson, and her afternoon tea was probably waiting for me back in her room. I needed to get her dressed and ready to meet the Hervanians. But the last thing I wanted to do was dress her. I wanted to open my maps and plan my route and get on my way to the life I was destined for. But she'd probably try to stop me. Calm down, I told myself. I wouldn't let on that I knew. I'd just act normal and then leave in the night. Be calm, I repeated. You are a soldier first and a lady in waiting second.
Drama queen.
Hey. Drama queen. Let me get my destiny, Rapunzel, but you'll probably stop me.
Cast drama queen Smith. That's her full name.
Cast drama queen Smith?
Yep.
Or cast drama queen Jones?
Okay.
Cast
All right.
Jones.
Chapter 16, page 117. After my dance lesson, the afternoon sun was warm and golden as I selected flowers for Cass to place in my braid. I was just about done when I saw a patch of red flowers, and I thought that they would be striking against Cass's dark hair. She wasn't exactly a flower wearer, but maybe she'd let me pin one on her dress. The color would set off her fair skin so perfectly. And she could at least keep some in the vase by her bed. I refused to believe there was a person alive who didn't feel better with freshly cut flowers in her room. I picked a few and headed back toward the castle. The sharp grass prickled my toes, and the slanted sunlight warmed my face and my arms. The dance of Eugene had erased my worries. Arglise pushed them aside. Monsieur Lafleur was right. Dancing was a tonic for the soul. There was something about moving in time to the music that had restored me, from my toes to my hair. I smiled as I realized that, for the first time since I arrived at the castle, I was actually looking forward to a dinner with foreign nobility. Most of the time, I was so aware of how out of place I was, how unfamiliar I was with the customs, even after 6 months here, that I had to give myself a pep talk before each event. I had come to count on Cassandra's humor to get me through. But tonight, I actually felt prepared. Cass had taught me the basics of the Hervanian culture. They're brash, but can be funny. Distrustful, but not mean-spirited. And I even knew to use the I even knew to use the itty-bitty fork with the oysters, a Hervanian delicacy.
The oysters?
When it came time to demonstrate the Alaman, I was certain I'd please the visitors. And I couldn't deny it. I was looking forward to having Eugene's hand back on my waist, guiding me gently across the floor. Sunshine? I turned around to see Eugene squinting against the setting sun, his brow crinkled with worry. I was just thinking about you, I said, tucking a flower into his lapel. You were? He asked. Want to walk me back to my room? I asked. I'm a little late, I think, and Cass has to make sure my dress fits. And we have to deal with this. I smiled and pointed to my hair. It's not so easy to tame this mane. I actually have to talk to you about something, Eugene said as we climbed the castle steps. My hair? I asked. You have more questions? No, Eugene said. I noticed the lowering sun, and I picked up the pace, heading down the long hallway toward my room. Eugene had to jog a little to keep up. It's actually about Cassandra. You see, she's not in a great mood. I ran into her after our dance lesson, and Eugene, how many times do I have to tell you? That's just Cass. She's not all bubbles and moonbeams. But it's just a mask. Inside, she's a softie. Oh yeah, Eugene said under his breath as we rounded the corner, approaching my door, about as soft as a porcupine. Hey, can you slow down for a second? Not really. I can't be late. I'm trying to embrace this princess thing. Ever since that night, I haven't exactly been in my parents' graces. I was slightly out of breath when we arrived at my door. I filled with the lock as I continued. I promise, if you and Cass can just get to know each other, you'll see that on the inside, she's the sweetest, kindest person, and deep down, as gentle as a... How could you? Cassandra asked, standing on the other side of the door with her hands balled up in fists. I could see the tension in her eyes, her neck, and her white knuckles. Lamb? I said. What? As gentle as a lamb. Lamb? I said.
That's me. Gentle as a
No, my
lamb.
pounding heart told me I was facing a lion. Cass, what's wrong? What happened? I was trying to tell you, Eugene said. Leave us alone, Cass said to Eugene. Eugene? I said, turning to him. Can you give us a few minutes? I'd really rather stay and explain in a calm, rational manner, Eugene started. Out, Cass said, pointing at the door. I'll just be stepping out now, Eugene said. Rapunzel, I promise I didn't betray you. I shut the door behind Eugene and turned to Cass. My heart pounded. Cass, whatever happened, it can't be that bad, I said. Not that bad, huh? She said, her eyes hard. You told him that I snuck you out of the kingdom? How could you? Oh, that, I said. Yes, that. You told your boyfriend, the former thief. He's more than just my boyfriend, I said. And he's not a thief anymore. People don't change. You told a criminal a detail that puts my entire future at risk. I could be going to a convent, Rapunzel. She didn't say my name. She spat it, and the sound of it hit me like a dart. And my lifelong dream of serving in the guard, for which I've been preparing for as long as I can remember, It's over. A convent is probably the best scenario, actually. I mean, I put the princess's life in danger. I'd never have any hope of being respected again. Cass, no, I would never let anyone speak ill of you. And you won't have to go anywhere, I said, rushing toward her. Eugene won't say a word. I never would have told him if I thought he would. I can't take that risk, she said, handing me the blue silk dress I was supposed to wear that night. The silk glistened. It had been sewn perfectly. What do you mean? I asked. Eugene and I are going to be the king and queen one day. We can't have secrets. We just can't. Words were failing me. They were leaving my mouth, but they lost their meaning in the air between us. There was a knock at the door. Rapunzel? Mom, I said. Wow, her timing couldn't have been worse. Are you ready? Are you almost ready, dear? We'd like to greet our guests as a family. This is an important meeting. I just need a little more time, I said, feeling Cass fuming beside me. It was like standing next to a roaring fire. I'll meet you in, say, 10 minutes? We don't have 10 minutes, Rapunzel. I'll be right outside, Mom said. I undressed and struggled into my new gown. Cassandra buttoned the back. Her fingers were cold against my skin. What do you mean you can't take that risk? I whispered, wiping tears from my face. I'm leaving, she hissed. She fastens the final button, pulling the bodice tight. You're ready now. It's time for you to go. I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what you mean, I whispered, turning around and gripping her shoulders. I'm going to find another castle, another kingdom. I can find work as a guard, she said. Teeth gritted. Rapunzel, Mom called from the other side of the door. Timeliness is not only a respect we grant all castle guests, but the example we set. I will see you in the parlor in exactly 2 minutes. Her voice was gentle as always, but I can tell she meant business. Okay, I called. Then I held Cass by the shoulders. You don't have to go. I do, she said, and so do you. Before I could stop her, she reached behind me and opened the door, sending me out to Monsieur Lafleur. Can I help you? I asked, totally taken aback by the sight of my dance teacher, who seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. What the? Cassandra cocked an eyebrow. She looked just as surprised as I felt, which seemed to put a temporary pause on her fury. Rapunzel's in a rush. I'm here to escort her, Monsieur said. He dabbed his forehead with a handkerchief. Dancers make the swiftest guides. Guiding her is my job, Cass said. Perhaps Mademoiselle would like some last-minute pointers. Monsieur Lafleur said, ignoring Cass and taking my arm. Thanks, but I think I've got it down now, I said, as the three of us hurried down the long hallway. With Cass holding me in one arm and Monsieur Lafleur holding me in the other, I was hardly touching the ground. I've heard you possess an original transcript of one of my favorite poems, The Lost Lagoon. That's true, I said. What about it? Cass asked. And how did you hear about that? Someone was inquiring in the library, and I couldn't help but overhear. Who? Cass asked. An elegant cloaked person. Didn't hear a name. Princess, I just wanted to let you know that I'm a student of all arts. Poetry is a dance of words, is it not? And I would be most grateful if you would lend me your copy of that delectable poem. To see the original text would realize a life dream of mine. That won't be happening anytime soon, Cass said. I'm not ready to part for it. It's just so special to me, I said, as he bowed deeply and Cass ushered me into the parlor where my mother, father, and Eugene were waiting. This doesn't mean I'm not leaving, Cass whispered. Okay, I said. But Cass, can you, for the safety of the kingdom? She paused, then nodded, knowing exactly what I meant.
Get lost, Monsieur Lafleur.
Monsieur?
Monsieur.
No.
No. Buried in fun things. Gotta like resituate every time I. Oh, jeez. There we go. Okay. Chapter 17, page 126. Cassandra. Of course, I immediately returned to Rapunzel's room and secured the book. I locked it in my satchel, hurried to my chamber, and put it under the bed. Then I lit a candle and spread out my maps on the table in my room, trying to put it out of my mind that Monsieur Lafleur wanted that book. The dance of words? Who even talks like that? I was going to say the same thing. Who even talks like that? As mad as I was at Rapunzel, something about the way his lip had been quivering gave me a terrible feeling. If it was true that someone was inquiring about the book at the library, then that was odd. If it was a lie, and Monsieur Lafleur had been somehow eavesdropping on us, that was worse. Why am I worried about this book, I wondered. I need to move on with my life. I'd return the book to her as soon as the dinner was over, make it Raps's responsibility. Why should I stay here? I couldn't be in the guard. I couldn't even train for the guard because I was stuck in my dead-end princess-sitting job. Wow. We hadn't had time to try out the winged beast, despite our first conversation at the lagoon, because of all of Rapunzel's royal duties. Well, Cassie could have brought it up.
It's not her style.
That's not her style. You're supposed to remember. I couldn't go on adventures without being threatened with a life of solitude and shame. Not to mention my fate was now in the hands of a massage-addicted dingbat, a.k.a. Eugene. Get back to your maps, Cassandra, I told myself. I took a deep breath and made some calculations. I could walk about 20 miles a day. It'd be better to walk toward the south, where the weather was warmer. If I couldn't find work for a while, the last thing I needed was to be out on the open road in the winter months. Just as I thought this, I heard a distant rumble of thunder. Please, I thought, please no rain tonight. I refocused. The kingdoms were closer together in the south. That meant more danger, but also a greater need for soldiers. There would be rivers to cross, no matter which direction I chose. At least I knew how to swim. Because Raps. Ugh, the thought of her made me so mad. She said there couldn't be any secrets between Eugene and her. But why? Especially when it meant sacrificing my future and everything I held dear. I'd read about romantic love in poems, and it seemed to me like a spell. Sounded great for the lovebirds, but what about the other people? Did I just not matter in the face of this love, even though I had been the one to risk everything to show Rapunzel the world? Was I just supposed to fall on my sword because Eugene was uncomfortable that he didn't have every last piece of information about Rapunzel? It's my favorite line in the book. It's my favorite line. Thunder roared as if echoing the anger in my chest. I opened my window and leaned out. The moon glowed behind. I am distracted now. The moon glowed between thick, shifting clouds. I called to Owl, and moments later he rested on my arm. Here was a friend, steady, true, and loyal. Is that you? Are you Owl? It was all so unfair. Why should I have to go? A nagging voice in my head told me that I'd lived in Corona first. I'd grown up here. I liked it here. This was all I'd ever known. I could find the ancient power and master the winged beast and probably be captain one day. Don't listen to that voice, I told myself. Stop being weak. I had to make a decision. Waffling would get me nowhere. Waffling. Making waffles. The plan is to leave tonight if the coast is clear, I said. Owl met my gaze with wise understanding. He narrowed his eyes as if questioning me. Ooh. I'm not being rash. I know what I'm doing. Owl looked deep into my eyes. Ooh. Don't pull that staring into my soul stuff on me. You're just going to have to trust me. I can't go to a convent. I can't stay here. Time for the open road. Owl still refused to agree that running away was the best thing to do. Ooh. I'm going to pack. Ooh. Then lightning scratched the sky like an angry cat and the rain started. Owl flew to a nearby tree for shelter. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I flopped on my bed. It was a famous Coronan storm. Nature ruled. No matter what I wanted, I was in Corona for another night.
Ooh, boy.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah,
When can I scratch this out? I don't think, did I talk?
I guess not. I thought for some reason there was a Gothel mentioned in this. But
Is there? I mean, there still might be. We
yeah,
still have.
maybe.
Yeah.
We could do it at the hour mark.
We'll do it at the hour mark. Okay,
Okay.
fun and games at the hour mark.
Yeah, when we take a tinkle break.
Yeah.
All right. Chapter 18, page 130. A loud clap of thunder shook the dining table. Oh my, it's a storm, Marie, the Havarian princess exclaimed as she clasped her napkin. Yes, I said, thinking that I couldn't have asked for a better present. A storm would slow down Cass's departure, though not for long. A storm is the perfect time for reading, Monsieur Lafleur said, winking at me.
Stop. Why does everyone wink in this book?
Winking at me, my mom had invited them to join us because we were an odd number and she didn't want anyone to be left out of the dance and dancing. Our Rapunzel is a voracious.
I'm sorry, voracious.
Voracious reader, Mom
That's
said.
the vocab word of the day, everyone. Voracious.
Is that so? The Duchess asked. Yes, and she has an interest in ancient poetry, Monsieur Lafleur added. Is that true, Mom asked? I nodded. Exactly how long would a storm contain Cass, I wondered. 1 day? 2? How would I ever get her to stay? I hope my daughter always follows her passions. You must feel the same, Marquis, Dad asked. Of course, the Marquis said. Marie is so sporty. And also has a keen interest in fashion, the Duchess added. She designed the very dress dear Rapunzel is wearing. Oh, I said. The puffed sleeves nearly reached my ears. Thank you. Marie nodded. What an awful lot you two have to talk about, Dad said. Thank goodness you will have an entire week to get to know one another. Yes,
Great.
I said, sipping my water. Thank goodness. I knew that Dad thought I would be best friends with Marie. But all she seemed to want to talk about so far was perfumes and face powders and various styles of puffed sleeves that were so popular.
And up to your ears.
That were so popular
Oops.
in Hervon.
I think, yeah, Hervon.
Hervon.
Yeah, like Hervin.
Okay.
Hervan. I think it's Hervin. Hervon.
Hervon.
I don't know. I hate these kingdoms.
All I could think about was Cass. I couldn't imagine my life in Corona without her. An ominous clap of thunder sounded. Dear me, shrieked the Duchess. Are we in danger? No, we're safe, Mom said. Will you pass the quail pie? Asked the Marquis, dabbing his lips with a napkin. I hope the rain won't deter our game of flying disc tomorrow,
Yes.
Marie said. Flying disc is my favorite. Never, Mom said.
My favorite.
Never, Mom said. Rapunzel's lady-in-waiting, Cassandra, is into sports. She'll be setting up our field, come rain or shine. Our Marie is quite the athlete, the Duchess said. Athletes make the best dancers, Monsieur said. No one appreciates the true athleticism of dance. I do, and I've won a few championships, Marie said. More thunder roared. The Duchess paled. Fear not, the Coronan storms come on strong, but they depart as quickly as they arrive, Mom said. I know we are all looking forward to some good fun tomorrow. Aren't we, Rapunzel? Oh, yes, I said, hoping that the storm wouldn't pass until morning. If Cass had a chance to leave under the cover of the night, she'd take it. But then again, what if the storm didn't keep Cass there? What if, once she thought the book was safe, she departed anyway? I felt faint. Do you have an outfit for sports, Rapunzel? Marie asked, forcing me back to the moment. I usually just wear my regular dress, I said. I wear a low puff for sports. The full puff, as I have here on this gown, is the most royal look of all. Don't you agree, Rapunzel? Yes, the full puff is by far the best. Though, sorry, puff is just such a funny word.
The full puff is the best. I agree. I'm sorry.
I'm trying not to laugh. Yes, the full puff is by far the best. Though, can you tell me one more time which kind of puff is... No, can you tell me one more
It's almost break
time?
time, don't worry.
Which kind of puff is the most appropriate for, say, a day by the seashore? I asked, knowing she would spin off into a monologue about fashion, allowing me to return to my thoughts. I needed to accomplish 3 things. First, I had to get Cass to stay in Corona. Second, I had to win her back. And finally, we needed to figure out the mystery of the lagoon for the good of the kingdom. At last, after the soup course, Mom asked if Eugene and I would like to show her very nobility the Allemande dance we had been rehearsing. Yes, I said, leaping to get away from the table and have some alone time with Eugene. I approached the musicians and whispered, can you make this a very, very long Allemande? The pianist winked and began to play.
Why is everyone wearing... I'm with Cass on this one. What is it with all the winking?
Eugene, what am I going to do? Cass wants to leave, I said as we began to dance. Would that really be the worst thing in the world? Yes, I said, giving his shoulder a squeeze. I'm sorry, he said, spinning me. I was just kidding. I know Cassandra means the world to you. As he reeled me back into his arms and the Havarian nobility offered a polite clap, Eugene whispered, I promise, I'll help you figure this out. Normally, the dance might end there, but I nodded at the pianist, who started up again. What's her plan exactly? Eugene asked. Just to leave, I said, as we reset in the classical starting pose. Wow, she must be mad, he said. Yes, she thinks I've betrayed her, I said, stepping on his toes. Oopsie. Eugene and I grinned at the Marquis and his family. Life's not easy on the road. Trust me, I've been there, Eugene said. She's going to want to prep. I know for a fact that being a guard is hard. Cass is so tough, I said. But she's been a lady in waiting for 6 months, he said. That's not exactly training. That's it, I said. There's this move she wants to learn. Maybe I can convince her to stay long enough to learn it, and then she'll trust me again. Oh, Eugene, I adore you. Forgetting myself, I kissed his cheek, and the Duchess gasped. She is so swept up in the art of dance, Mom said, covering for me. I could hardly blame her, the Duchess said, fanning herself. The Allemande is the most romantic. Shall we all dance? Dad asked Mom. How could I refuse? Mom answered. The musicians began again. Eugene and I spun off. Mom and Dad held hands. The Marquis and the Duchess bowed to one another, and Monsieur extended his hand to Marie. La 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 la. That scene change.
Oh, okay. That was the motorcycle
Yeah.
in the back. A lot of motorcycles and
yeah. Who is that? Marie asked the next day when we arrived at the sports field for our early morning game of flying disc. Sure enough, Marie had the best flying disc outfit, replete with a low puffed sleeve and matching headband.
just a low puff.
Just a low puff.
Just a low puff.
That's my lady in waiting, Cassandra, I said, unable to contain my smile. She had stayed, though I'd guessed she had when I returned to my room to see the book of poems replaced by a note in her hand that simply said, I've got it. She looks, formidable, Marie said, and began to stretch her calves. Oh, she is, Eugene said. I nudged him. In the best way, of course. By formidable, I mean the sense of impressive. I'd never call her, say, difficult, or even worse, menacing. I shot Eugene a look and then waved to Cass. She reluctantly waved back, as if to say, yes, I'm still here, but don't get used to it. As Marie led everyone in on stretching exercises at one end of the arena, I went to greet Cass at the other. Do you have the book? I asked. Of course, she said, preparing the field. She was placing painted rocks on the ground to outline the boundaries. It's in my satchel right here. But I'm returning it to you after this game. I'm leaving tonight. That's the end of it. Even though Monsieur Lafleur wanted it, I asked. That has to be a sign, a clue, that we have something valuable here. Cassandra is one of the best flying disc players in the kingdom, Mom said, calling out to us from across the field. Cassandra nodded and waved. Yeah, I admit it's weird, but it's not going to stop me from going. We'll have 2 teams of 4, my father declared, the Havarians versus the Coronins, though one of us will have to play for the other side. I nominate Cassandra, Eugene shouted. You're going to regret that, Fitzherbert, Cass called back. Are you really prepared to leave Corona? I asked Cass as she walked heel to toe, measuring the playing field. Don't you think we should train before you set out? Don't you think you should train before you set out? Don't you think there are certain things you should know? Cass paused, biting her lip. I had given her something to think about. But then she seemed to shake the idea off. I'll be fine. I grew up among the guards. I'm sure I can handle myself wherever I land. You've been my lady in waiting for more than 6 months, I said. It's serious for physical conditioning. I know you don't want I know you don't want to be out on the road without top-notch skill set. Let me help you. The playing field seems like it is defined. The playing field seems like it's defined, Dad called. Let's get this game started. Take your places, girls. Fribourg blew the whistle. Wait, Marie cried, running to the other end of the field. I forgot my lucky armband. Why should I trust you anyway? Cass asked. Because you have no choice. How else are you going to prepare for life on the road? You can't really fence with yourself. You can't chase yourself up castle walls. And it'll be totally undercover. It's your job to hang out with me, right? I asked. She nodded. But instead of teaching me embroidery, lute playing, and the art of elevated conversation, we'll be getting you ready to be the best guard this world has ever seen. I paused. We could learn the winged beast. We didn't have time before, but we can make it a priority now. Her eyes lit up. I had her. Ready, Marie cried, sliding the brightly colored piece of fabric that perfectly matched her headband onto her arm. Cassandra, take your place with the Hervarians, Eugene said. Calm down, Eugene, she said. I'll guard Cass, I said, standing next to her. I'll stay until the Hidden Moon Festival, she said, gazing at the horizon. Yes, that was in 10 days. Maybe we can find out more about the lagoon, too. But after that, I'm leaving Rapunzel. Until then, if Eugene breathes a word, he won't, I said. Is it just me, or are we missing something? Eugene asked as we all stood in position. The disc! Marie exclaimed. It's in my bag, Cass said. She ran to get it. But when she returned with the disc, her face was stricken. What is it? I asked. The book, she said. It's missing.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun! Fever.
Right.
Yuki?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're at the hour mark. We are taking a quick break. We are on chapter 19, page 140. We are going to be finishing part 2 today, so we have a little bit more to go. Actually, we have a lot more to go. Oh, there goes Rapunzel. Wave, bye. Yeah, so we're over halfway, but okay. Just gonna catch up on the chat here while we're taking a quick break. Good mom, Ariana. Yes, Ariana is the best mom in the world. We love her. And Ariana is Cass's biggest fan. Yep. And her, yes, good. I approve. Yes, there we are. Cool. Okay. Well, I have a picture of Gothel for the occasion. And, oh, wait, maybe she should be here for this. Never mind. Okay, well. We'll just let that happen. Anyway, there's a lot of winking in this book. My favorite line, for sure. Boo. Yeah, I know, exactly. We're going to cancel her in a moment. In a moment, we are going to be canceling. This is why I printed this on draft. But yes, that line about falling on her sword spurred a lot of conversation. There's too much winking in this book. I can see why she can't stand it. Everyone's winking. And puffy sleeves. I can't believe it snowed yesterday.
I know.
All right, are you ready for fun and games? Okay, cool. We're going to do some cathartic. Oh, that was very talented.
Thank you.
All right.
Ugh.
Yep.
All right, what should we draw on her?
I want to give her a
Mustache?
Yeah. I want to give her a mustache. Ooh.
Ooh, she's never looked better.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Or like a little.
Maybe some bunny ears.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Oh, very
Maybe some whiskers.
Yeah, some whiskers. Well, Bunny's kind of cute for arrow through the head. Okay, we got an arrow through the head request.
Mm-hmm.
There she is right now. Cool. Okay, just do an arrow through. How do you even draw?
Wow.
She doesn't look okay. I think Alda doesn't look okay.
You look strong.
Frozen 2 blanket. That's correct. Okay, what else should we? Maybe some like horns.
She's the bunny demon.
Yeah, the bunny demon OC. Okay.
In this live stream, we only support caring, loving mothers.
Yes, in this live stream, we're all about healthy maternal relationships. I don't know what like a devil's tail looks like. Whoa. What is a devil's tail? Oh, it has like a fork, right?
Yeah. There you go.
Ah, hee hee hee.
Perfect.
My original character, Mother Dothel. Yep,
That's right.
This is Mother Dothel. This is Aunt Dothel.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Goth. Let's see. Let's do like a monocle.
Ooh, she's fancy.
A classic.
She's evil, but she's fancy.
Excellent. This is a great activity for the girls.
Mm-hmm.
They get to bond. All right, one more. Classy. And we're gonna rip it in half, right? Ooh.
You know, she's evil, but she has really big eyelashes.
She's Aunt Dothel. Don't steal. This is the new OC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There we go. This is very cathartic. This is nice. Cool.
Oh,
All right.
excellent.
Meanwhile, in a nice oak frame. We love her. She makes me cry. Cool. Can we rip this? I actually kind of want to keep this.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Okay. We'll put it in the frame, but behind Ariana. So if we ever like forget about it, Rapunzel's mom has got it going on. Mm-hmm. Can I agree with that, or is that weird, Rapunzel? Your mom is pretty cute.
She is cute.
Ariana is okay. I don't want to freak you out. I'm gonna leave. My turn. I'll be quick. Oops.
Whoops.
I'm so sad I lost my shoulder.
So how's everyone doing today? I am sad that I can't be with my mom today because obviously quarantine and stay at home, but I got some flowers and a balloon for my mom, and I have a card for her for the next time that I do see her. So that's nice. Well, yeah, it's really hard to send flowers right now because obviously everyone is in quarantine and everyone is sending flowers to their mom. So we don't know when they're going to get there. But yay. I'm going to have a takeout with my mom. Oh, good. I wish I was having takeout with my mom. I told my mom that as soon as all of this is over that I am going to have a rain check for her for a nice evening out. So I am looking forward to that because I miss my mom a lot. And it's hard not seeing her every day. It's hard with her not being able to come visit me at work. So I am looking forward to seeing my mom. Because moms are cool and important. And if you can hug your mom today, please hug your mom.
Ma'am.
Oops, you weren't supposed to see that.
It's my turn.
Cass found my secret stash. She's barging in here, ma'am. But yes, anyway, please hug your mom if you have a mom that is there to physically hug. Because we love moms. I'm going to shift
Can we
this.
talk about the moment when she talks about putting flowers in happy face?
Yeah, I know, it's so cute.
Can we also talk about every other moment? When she's crying?
Oh, she
I
has
forgot-
baby carrots.
I do have baby carrots. I forgot that Raps cries when she said she's going to leave. We have more toys.
Oof, she's stiff in the bones.
What, Cass?
Mm-hmm.
I am. Oops.
Yeah.
That's me. It's a great job. It's just like me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's something about this.
Her shoe's like on backwards.
You know, sometimes you just got to put your shoes on backwards. You know what I'm saying? How's that? Is that better? Yeah,
good.
it's like better.
It's a little less
Perhaps be like, this will look great with Cass's complexion.
yeah, for fair skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cute. Very, very
Wait, where did
cute.
I threw a flower? Where did it just go? Did
There.
you put it in your hair? Oh, there. No, I threw another one.
Oh.
Oh, okay. You want to put this in my hair?
Put a flower in my shoulder. What? Yay!
Thanks. Oh, that's cute. Thanks.
All right.
Okay, well, now that we
I've taken a little
have
break.
had some, healthy Mother's Day catharsis,
Mhm.
is it gay to daydream about how lovely flowers will look with your gal pal's complexion?
I think that is very heterosexual.
Yeah, especially, Okay.
It is U-turn.
Do I fall on my sword because I risked everything to show you the world? I want to like type that quote out and frame it and put it like on my wall. That quote is just so beautiful, and I think sums up just like their story so well, especially in the beginning. Like,
Before things went to piddly poo.
before Destiny became more of a.
Oops,
Well,
sorry.
she's all about. It's okay. I have baby carrots.
Oh, I like baby carrots.
Okay.
I like ducklings.
I do like ducklings. Where's Mr. Quackers? Oh, well, Sir Jorgen Bjorgen.
Yeah.
Grab him. Elsa needs a friend. Woo! Okay. Chapter 19. My hair is a hot mess today, but that's okay because that's what Cass's hair is. Hi. Oh, oh no! Leila Howland snapped. Yeah, I did. I keep hitting him. We have Sir Jorgen Bjorgen. He'll be our friend. With
Why can't
Pascal.
I get into the bed?
I don't know because the curtains are like. Yeah, I had like a draft composed to her. Like I was really, really this close to asking Leila Howland, the author of this book, about if she was aware of the sort of possibilities of a romantic subtext and if she was aware of how the story might resonate with, with
People.
LGBT and like with people and reading it in a different way. And if they could look at it as representation, and I could like go off about that and we all could. And I wish I had, because I was like ready, like in like late 2017, I was going to send it. And I mean, I probably still could.
I feel like once like I found like her Instagram though, it was like she's just like a teacher.
Well, she
with,
did like the
kids.
photos, but yeah, she's sweet. She's like a mom.
She's just
with
like a
kids
mom,
and
and I didn't like really feel like that was a narrative that like she necessarily needed to like have.
yeah.
Like, because I just felt like it would have like made her a little uncomfortable, and like that's fine. Like,
yeah, I wanted to just not like, I didn't want to come across as like too much.
Yeah, and so like I definitely understand that.
Yeah,
because like she's just a mom writing.
Yeah, living her life.
Yeah.
So I'm always a little weird with reaching out to creators.
Yeah,
in
especially
kind of an intense way.
Yeah, because we live in a time right now where creators are so accessible and they deal with so much negativity
and weirdness, and so I'm very respectful. But like, I do think that it would be a cool thing to talk to her about. So I might send it, but it's like you just have to be professional and careful if you do want to reach out to a creator.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't, but I'm thinking about it. But I don't know. It's cool. It would be cool to see her thoughts, but
I feel like she just wouldn't respond.
Yeah, but she'd
be like, "What is this?" Delete.
I wrote that. What? Did she write the second one?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's a thought, But we have this. Maybe she'll see this. I don't know. Hi.
Maybe she'll see this and sue us.
Maybe. I am the queen of being professional. Disney once sent what was it? What do you call that? Not a lawyer, but what do you call the person that like a paralegal? Yeah. I once harassed Disney so much that they sent a paralegal telling me, sorry, but Tron isn't gonna happen. So I'm no stranger to talking to Disney, but it was great. Anyway, everyone go watch Tron Uprising. This is not about that. Okay, here we go. Jürgen Bjorgen. Shall we continue?
Aw,
Are we? I know, he's a great listener. Shall we continue? Are we ready?
I think so. Take a little 15-minute break.
Yeah, okay. All right, folks. So I'm glad that everyone's still here. We have a nice little group of people. It made me really happy. Oh, hi. It made me really happy to see online that someone actually found the gift card and bought the book. That was really sweet. Everyone should own a copy of this book, honestly. But yeah, so okay, here we go. We're gonna continue with the winking and the puffs and
The puff
and
up to the ears.
and the running into the forest and screaming and the maps and Monsieur Lafleur, who I can't stand. Yes, we should all own a copy of this book. If I had $1 million, I'd just be like, you get a copy, you get a copy. And then we'd get sued again. All right, so we're going to continue. Okay.
Yep.
Ready? We got our carrots.
We got our carrots. We are on page.
We are on page 140, so we are continuing. And the Vanishing Village. Yeah, so we are thinking of doing the Vanishing Village after this. We never finished that book for reasons that will be told. It's a very funny story.
It's a very funny story.
Yes, the reason why we never finished that is hilarious, and we will tell that at a time. So, oh yeah, here's the inside cover.
Yeah, very pretty.
It's a beautiful book. And I don't know if anyone ever saw the commercial for this book. They did a little like animated thing, and Mandy Moore voiced it. It was like 30 seconds long, and there was this great art of Cass and Rapunzel swimming in the lagoon. And it looked like it was supposed to be included maybe like down here. Yeah, it was like an actual like kind of semi-animated book trailer, and it showed a scene from like the end of the book and then them swimming. And like she actually like voiced Rapunzel, which was really cool. So I wonder if Mandy Moore has a copy. That would be really cool to see a live reading of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
I don't think Mandy Moore even knows what's happening.
yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. They dream for a third. I would love to see a third book that's just
Yeah, I'm surprised.
like Leila Howland, but like just Cass. Because I feel
expected it would be like the Cass Rapunzel one, and then like the second one kind of was like focused on Eugene. So I kind of expected the third one that like would be about Varian. So I was kind of surprised.
That's a good point. Yeah, they kind of slept on that.
Yeah,
like Varian and even Lance. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there are going to be any more.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But it was probably discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least like a series with Cass, because that's a
Lance
real
book, please. I know.
Lance is my favorite, other than obviously Cassandra.
I would. Love
I feel like she's not even an addition.
Like a prequel Lance Eugene book, just like about like them as teenagers. That would have been awesome.
That would be a great book, and we got a little of that in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be a great book, and I feel like people would really enjoy that.
I would read that.
I would. Yeah, we'd have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. There's so many ideas. I wish that they would just, I don't know if they're going to do more. Lance and Eugene heist comic. A graphic novel would be really cool too. And Disney's awesome. Really, like the Disney comics are so beautiful and the art is awesome. Like the Frozen 2 ones that are coming out that are bridging the gap between things and like flashbacks. Like the art is just like,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd love to see more. Tangled, the series had a lot of stuff when it started out, and then once it changed to Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, we kind of didn't see anything. So that's kind of a mystery, but maybe we can find out. Anyway, okay, I'm going to keep reading because we've been blabbering. Chapter 19, we're getting into this adventure with Marie and her puffs. Chapter 19, page 140, Cassandra. What was the last place you had the book? Raps asked me as I collected the painted rocks that marked the boundaries of the field. She was red-faced after our game of flying disc, which was more competitive than we'd expected. Eugene and I had played as though we were fighting for Corona's honor.
Honor.
Okay. I'm just going to repeat that a little slower. Eugene and I had played as though we were fighting for Corona's honor, matching each other point for point with snipes, bullet passes, and airbenders. It was hardly a one-on-one game, though. The fastest runner on the field was Raps, and she'd held her own, foot-blocking the Hervanian marquee and catching Eugene's long passes pancake style. That is a way to do it. But at the last minute, the Hervanians and I beat the Coronans. That's kind of like... Okay. That Marie was tougher than she looked under her puffy sleeves. She'd scored the winning point with an aggressive run and battle tackle that surprised us all. Any of you that have played flying disc or disc golf, like flying disc, you know how aggressive that game can be. Now, as the rest of the group headed back to the castle, Raps and I hung back to talk privately. What do you mean, what was the last place I had it? I asked. It was in my satchel this morning. I wasn't about to leave it in my room with Lafleur nosing around. Did you at any point leave it alone, or have you been with it the whole time? Raps asked. Since when do I leave my stuff just lying around? I asked, annoyed. Sorry, Raps said, hands in the air. I was just asking, do you think, would the Hervanians? We looked at Marie, who was wiping the mud from her shoes. It seemed unlikely, but then again, so had her tackle point. Plus, she had headed in the direction of my satchel when she went to get her lucky armband. It was possible. They're seeking Coronan protection, but you never know. Maybe that's just a guise, and they're really after power. We'll add them to the list of suspects. Excuse me. In the meantime, let's interview Lafleur. It took us very little time to locate the dance instructor. He was in the Great Hall, where he was directing the National Dance Troupe in the rehearsals for their performance at the Hidden Moon Festival. Rise together, my doves, and follow me as we lead the revolution, Monsieur Lafleur was saying to the group of at least 50 dancers on the stage as the pianist played with passion. He waved his hands above him, and the dancers copied him. Behind him, carpenters were taking measurements, and decorators were painting sets depicting all the flowers that bloom in the springtime in Corona. Revolution? What kind of dance is this? I asked Raps as we made our way toward the stage. The dancers were twirling wildly, leaping and bounding with feverish looks in their eyes. Was Lafleur a madman? Was this dance troupe his army of crazed minions? Yes. I think they're just dancing, Raps said. I stuck 4 fingers in my mouth and gave my loudest whistle. The piano music stopped. I can't do that. How do you even do that? Okay. And the piano music stopped, and the dancers froze, and everyone turned and looked at me. Hey, I yelled. What's going on in here? Wow, Cass. Monsieur Lafleur eyed us with shock. His cheeks were pink with either shame or exertion, or perhaps both. Princess, Mademoiselle Cassandra. Ooh. I wasn't expecting you, Lafleur said with a weird grin, and not a wink, but a weird grin, as he quickly made his way down the stage stairs. Clearly not, I said. What kind of revolution is going on here? Dancers take 5, Monsieur Lafleur said, flustered. He dabbed his perspiration-soaked forehead with a hanky. The dancers whispered among themselves as Monsieur Lafleur cleared his throat and joined us. Hi, Raps said. Can you explain this? Same. I have an unorthodox creative method, Lafleur said nervously. Is that a crime? Of course not, Raps said. Every artist is entitled to his or her own process. But you were talking about a revolution, I said. Raps might have been willing to let him off the hook, but I wasn't. A revolution of the soul, Lafleur said. How can I create a dance worthy of a Hidden Moon Festival if I don't stir the passions of my dancers? When was the last Hidden Moon Festival? 50 years ago? Our light source will be in shadows. Our dreams will be smothered. What does that mean? And what, by the way, does it mean to be human? These are the questions I'm asking in order to create a dance for such an auspicious moment in time. Cass, I think he's being honest, Raps said. What about the book of poems? Did you take it? I asked. It's missing, Raps said. Oh, dear, take it without permission. I'd never do such a thing, Lafleur said, looking genuinely offended. The princess said it was too important to her, though I do hope you reconsider if you find it. My life's dream has been to write a ballet about the Lost Lagoon and then take it on the road, travel the world with a message of love. If I had the original text, why, I could dive right into it, so to speak. There's no need for puns, I said, staring straight into his eyes. Raps was right. He exhibited no traits of a liar, though I wasn't quite prepared to let him off the hook. I know who took it, Lafleur said suddenly, his eyes lighting up. Who? Raps asked. My arch rival and former paramour, Louisa von Almond, he cried out. Long ago, I shared with her my vision of a ballet about the Lost Lagoon. She's stolen my idea. She'll be a runaway success, and I'll wither away in obscurity, and she'll love every moment of it. I don't think the book was stolen to make a ballet, Raps said. Though if that was the case, I'm not sure I'd mind. You don't know Louisa, Lafleur said. She's a rose of a few petals and many thorns. I think you'd better get back to your dancers, Raps said. For now, I added sternly. Art first, Monsieur Lafleur exclaimed, and then he clapped his hands to indicate the break was over. Thank you. He wasn't a prime suspect, but he wasn't off the list either. I mean, was Louisa von Almond even a real name? No.
I was gonna say almond.
Louisa von Almond.
It's actually
Like
spelled
Louisa
almond.
von Cashew. Louisa von Walnut. We have one.
Ooh, we do have cashews.
Yeah. The Hervanians weren't anywhere to be found. So Raps and I, can I just say, I really like that in part 2, it changes over to Raps instead of Rapunzel and
That's
Cass
cute.
instead of Cassandra. It's really cute.
Mhm. But it always goes back to Cassandra if Rapunzel is feeling.
Upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a great theme there of the usage of names in this
Yeah.
books. Again, applause, Leila Howland. Okay, I'm sorry. I will focus. Just having too much fun. The Hervanians weren't anywhere to be found, so Raps and I decided to head straight to the lagoon to search for more clues or any evidence that someone had been there. While Raps investigated one side of the lagoon, I explored the other. I challenged myself to swim to the far wall of the lagoon, which formed a cove. We didn't go over there much because it was farthest from the gulch and rarely got any sun. It was the one spot in the lagoon that was usually dark. The water became colder the closer I got to the cove. We had been looking for other gems, and nothing sparkled in this area. I couldn't keep my eyes open underwater for very long, so we used my other senses, according to guard training. I ran my hand along the wall. It all felt normal, until it didn't. Then there was a break, and the stone was uneven. Something was etched into its side. I forced my eyes open and saw words. I swam to the surface. I found something, I said. Raps, come here. Rapunzel dove into the lagoon and swam right over. Check it out, I said. It's hard to read, but I think it's Siporian. What? This is amazing. She inhaled deeply and dove under. When she came back up, she said, we're just going to have to take it word by word. I'll get my diary. You read the letters to me. I'll write them down. Got it, I said. Raps raced back to the shore while I pushed myself to go back underwater. This was a clue to the greatest power Corona had. I could feel it the way a bull shark could anticipate its prey. We were getting close. After multiple dives and alternating rolls, Raps and I had a sentence. Akui Rasidi, okay. Akui Rasidi, or treasure, Ligaro common embrace, Neo Dixie que Sagir disturbe. We focused on the words we thought we understood, treasure, embrace, disturb, but we still couldn't divine the meaning. We repeated the sentence so many times that by the time we headed back to the castle, we'd memorized it.
Disturb.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad that you caught the airbender thing. I guess an airbender is like a move in like disc golf or something.
I've never heard
I
that.
thought that was funny. And airbenders. Okay.
Confirmed.
And suddenly is a fan of Avatar.
Mm-hmm. All right. Chapter 20. Page 148. 148.
Oh, were you?
All right. Inside of each of us is a burning flame, Miss Tasha, the matchmaker, explained in her low, smooth voice. When two flames, who are meant to come together, one must wonder, will they blend or cast two different shadows? This is the question matchmakers must answer, and we do it by viewing the auras of those around us. The lights were dimmed and the curtains were drawn in the parlor room, which was one of the few quiet places in the castle. It was a few days after our last visit to the lagoon, and Cass and I were busy trying to line up the experts for the Hidden Moon Festival, which was taking more time than we had expected. Mom had told me that a record number of engagements happened after the Hidden Moon Festival. The villagers depended on it. So I had better line up a matchmaker who was worth her salt. Miss Tasha, it was rumored, was the best in the land. She had come to the castle to give us a demonstration. In the meantime, my mother was running around overseeing the planning for the many educational programs. My father was working with the guards to ensure top security. Eugene, in charge of the entertainment lineup, was busy interviewing bands that might perform in the Great Hall in advance of Le Fleur's dance finale. How long do you think this is going to take? Cass whispered. We need to keep working on our translations. I don't know. I've never seen a matchmaker in action before, I whispered back. Do you think she's any good? Can't tell, Cass said. This isn't my bag. Miss Tasha nodded to the lute player, who was seated behind us in the shadows, so that, as Miss Tasha had told us, his physical presence wouldn't distract from his music. Now I shall demonstrate my technique. Close your eyes, Miss Tasha said in a soothing voice, and let us quiet our minds so that our inner beings can resonate with the vibrations of the lute. With open hearts and clear heads, I can see the colors of people's hearts and find their perfect complement. What a loon, Cass whispered. Mm-hmm. So it's something, our treasure, something with an embrace, then something about don't disturb, I whispered. The previous night, we scoured a few Ziporian books we had found in the library in an attempt to translate the words carved on the wall of the lagoon. But this was as far as we'd gotten. Kinnard, the ancient librarian, wasn't there, so we couldn't ask him about the visitor who had been inquiring about the stolen book. Kinnard kept odd hours. Ladies, I do hate to be rude, Miss Tasha said, but I hear chitter-chatter. I can't do my best work without a bit of focus, eh? Sorry, I said. We closed our eyes and listened to the lute player until Miss Tasha spoke. The vibrations in the room are humming. I will bring in some citizens of the castle and tell you the color of their auras, and if perhaps there is a match among us here today. I'm ready, I said. This is some weird stuff, Cass said. Miss Tasha opened the door. Eugene walked in. I smiled. Puh, Cass said. My, Miss Tasha said. Rapunzel's aura is ablaze, the most vivid purple hue, and dear Eugene's a bright orange with flecks of pure gold. Eugene beamed. Are you serious? Cass asked, leaning back in her chair. I don't see anything except Fitzherbert. That's really neat, I said, grinning. You're a perfect match, Miss Tasha said, her hands clasped to her chest. Your auras align on the color wheel to perfection. Aw, sweet, I said. Sunshine, did you ever doubt we were meant to be? Eugene asked with a grin. Never, I said. Don't you two ever get bored of this ooey-gooey stuff? Cass asked. Captain Bitter, you have a lot to learn, Eugene replied.
Captain Bitter?
If you were chosen to make matches at the Hidden Moon Festival, I would ensure they were all as solid as this, Miss Tasha said with a curtsy. Ugh, Cassandra muttered. The mood, it's turning sour, Miss Tasha said, covering her ears. It's affecting the other auras. Eugene's is darkening with every passing second. I must ask you to leave so that any superfluous tension dissipates in this room. As for you, Cassandra, it would behoove you to be more soft-hearted and obedient. That is, if you'd like me to help you find love. I think I'll pass, Cassandra said. Miss Tasha scowled. I nudged Cass, who looked at me as if to say, what? Lute player, clear our minds with a pleasing tune, Miss Tasha said. The lute player bowed his head and stared up again. Is it just me, or does that lute player seem a little familiar? Cass lowered her voice, squinting to see him in the shadows. I can't really get a clear view, I whispered back. Well, anyway, I think we need to go back to Xavier and see if we can get the Ziporian dictionary, Cass said. Good idea, I said. Ahem, next up, Miss Tasha said. Freeboard walked in. She has an aura? Cass asked. Freeboard frowned. Of course she does, Cass, I said, wondering if the quietest people were perhaps the most sensitive. Yes, she has an aura. In fact, it's a red flame, a deep sign of romance. Freeboard, you are yearning for love, Miss Tasha explained. Freeboard blushed wildly. Your match will have a green flame to soothe your passionate heart. This lady is a nutso, Cass said. I guess there's more to Freeboard than meets the eye, I said. Tomorrow, Cass said, when we're done with this nonsense. It's not nonsense. It's all for the festival, I said. And think about how great it would be if Freeborg found a sweetheart. We'll see Xavier first thing, Cass replied. Do you think he knows how to translate Sephorian? I asked. If anyone does, it's definitely Xavier, Cass said. The lute player seemed to find more energy and passion as Freeborg left, and Mrs. Tasha's third candidate walked into the room. It was Marie.
Oh.
Marie, Cass said, standing up, suddenly serious.
Marie,
Cass said. Standing up, suddenly serious. We've been meaning to ask you something. We've been wondering more and more if the Hervarians might have had something to do with the book's disappearance, especially after I remembered that Monsieur Lafleur had referenced my interest in ancient poetry in front of them during our dinner. But I wasn't sure now if it was the best time or place to probe for information. What is it? Marie asked. You don't have any interest in poetry, do you? Cass asked. Cass, I said. I don't understand your line of questioning, Cassandra, Miss Tasha said. It's distracting Marie's mind and taking her away from the present moment. I think I see her aura. It's blue. We need to interrogate you, Cass said. I must ask the lady in waiting to leave the room, Miss Tasha announced. I beg of you, Princess. I cannot work under these unfriendly conditions. Cass? I asked. Fine, Cass said. I have work to do anyway. I'll see you after, I asked Cass. Marie, you are a daring woman with so much to give, Miss Tasha said. Your match will be a complicated soul, but one with the highest intentions. I waved to Cass as she left the room. What does it mean?
Sad Cass didn't get an aura. It's because it would have been the same as Eugene. Chapter 21, Cassandra. The Marquis and Duchess were riding horses through the kingdom, and I knew that Marie was having her aura examined down in the parlor. The guards were running various emergency exercises in anticipation of the Hidden Moon Festival, and Raps, who would probably try to stop me from breaking in because it wasn't the quote-unquote honest thing to do, was tied up learning how to look at people's inner flames or whatever nonsense Miss Tasha was spouting. In other words, it was the perfect time to do some investigating. My palms tingled in anticipation as I jimmied the lock and turned the large doorknob on the heavy door of the guest chambers. I winced as the door creaked. Master of unlocking. Then I slipped inside, shutting the door behind me. Marie could have easily stolen the book at the field, though I had to admit, if she had taken it, she was one of the greatest deceivers of all time. The girl didn't appear much to be much smarter or wilier than a bucket of dust. Oh! In any case, it was time to find out. Ouch! Friend. Wow. The girl didn't appear to be much smarter than a bucket of dust. In any case, it was time to find out. I rifled through Marie's belongings. Geez, this girl had more dresses than Raps. She had outfits for every imaginable occasion, from tea time to jousting to weightlifting. Each ensemble was labeled and paired with a matching headband. Maybe she was some kind of evil genius. There was a system here. She was so organized, it didn't take long to go through her things. There was no sign of the book and no evidence that pointed to any knowledge of the lagoon. And yet, I had to wonder, do people really live this way? With labeled socks for every day of the week? She was clearly deranged. Wow. I hated to admit it, but I understood for a moment why Eugene might have liked being a thief. There was an undeniable excitement in being somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. Ooh. Though unlike Eugene, my thieving efforts were in the name of justice. Who knew why Eugene did anything? Well, except for love or whatever. We had considered Marie a suspect, though of course her parents were just as likely to have taken the book. I turned my attention to the gilded travel trunks of the Marquis and the Duchess. With fast fingers, I searched for the book. One thing was certain. The Duchess had enough jewels to fill the lagoon. I didn't know why she'd go in search of more. At last, I came across something that felt like our long-lost book of poetry. It was tucked beneath some underclothes. I grabbed the leather-bound book, opening its pages with bated breath. However, it turned out to be a diary kept by the Marquis, which seemed to revolve mostly around eating. February 5th. I ate the rest of the plum pudding for breakfast. I hope my wife doesn't find out or she will be sore. March 10th. Had a hunk of ham with a loaf of brown bread for dinner. Perhaps I overindulged. Indigestion seems inevitable. Sad face.
Weight loss diary? What is it?
It is. April 2nd. Pie. Mince, squash, and apple. I sampled them all at the feast today. Yet still missed Mother's blueberry crumble. Will anything ever come close to its deliciousness?
Aw.
Boy, this guy needed some hobbies. Excuse me, what are you doing? Marie asked. That's my Marie voice. I tried to appear neutral even though my heart was pounding and she caught me red-handed reading her father's journal. Extermination, I said with a smile. Excuse me, Marie said, her hands folded across her chest. We've had an infestation and it seems to be originating from this room. We're wondering, did they travel from Hervan? I said. Marie narrowed her eyes. Obviously, I had to investigate if any bugs arrived via Hervanian luggage. She wrinkled her nose. Spiders, I said, improvising. We have no spiders in our luggage, Marie said, taking great offense. I can see that now, I said, quickly putting back the journal, and I'll be sure to end the vicious rumors that are circulating. I should hope so, Marie said. I should have you reported to the Queen. Unless, of course, you'd like to participate in the biggest event of the festival, I said, thinking on my feet. Marie eyed me skeptically. Of what do you speak? Would you like to fence with Rapunzel as a way to kick off the celebration? Me? Fence with the princess? In front of the entire kingdom? She asked, brightening. Absolutely, I said. Without a challenger of physical prowess, it will be just a joke. Cass. But a truly skilled and yet friendly fencing match? Why, the townspeople will be talking about it for ages. When can we begin practicing? Marie asked. Just as soon as possible, I replied. I'm going to go check in with the princess now. Wonderful. I'll make sure my fencing gear is ready.
Rapunzel died that night.
And why exactly am I doing this? Raps asked me as I fastened her headpiece. Diplomacy, I said. Besides, we had to kick off the ceremony somehow. I guess, Raps said. Marie was nearby, performing an elaborate warm-up routine. I wondered if I'd missed anything in my search. Yes, they were our allies, but if history had taught me anything, it was that the smallest countries almost always have the largest ambitions. I thought we were going to Xavier's today, and what about the winged beast? Raps said. Look, I needed to search the Hervanians' guest corners, I said. You broke in? I shrugged. She was the only one who'd actually been near my satchel that morning. I had to rule them out. Well? Raps asked as I pinned the loose strands of her braid. I couldn't find evidence of a direct motivation, but they aren't ruled out yet. So what's my job? She asked. Fight like heck, I said, fastening her chin strap. Everyone loves a fencing match. I'm glad you're the one who trained me, Raps said, as Marie performed a double backflip with sword in hand. Hi-ya! I'm ready, Marie said. You think that because my country is little, it is not mighty? She pulled a double-triple backward revenge move. You're wrong. The humblest among us have the greatest thirst for power. Rapunzel and I glanced at each other, taking in what she just said. Then Marie advanced. On guard. Eek! Rapunzel cried, but quickly rebounded, blocking Marie's parry. Good luck to you, ma'am.
She died.
I got you into this.
The end. That's the end of the book.
Yeah, and then Rapunzel died in the fencing match.
All right. Chapter 22. That fencing match made me really hungry, I said later. As Cass and I survived. As Cass and I walked to the village on our way to see Xavier. Once again, the scent of those pastries made my mouth water. I could use a pastry to give me a boost in energy. We're on a mission, Cass said. She was still resolute about the...
Resolute?
Yeah, she's still resolute. She was still resolute about leaving after the festival, but I knew her well enough to know there was a smile hiding inside her right now. I just needed to draw it out. The most important mission ever, I said, and we need fuel in the form of sugar and cream. What better fuel could there be? I asked. I held her arms as we passed the door of the baker's shop. Stop. Inhale. Ugh, fine, Cassandra said. There was a semblance of a smile. I knew you'd come around, I said with a grin. This is going to be fast. So fast, I said. Faster than Marie and her counter reptiles. Marie isn't ordinary nobility. She's a warrior, Cass said. Who knows if she's even royalty at all? She could be a trained assassin. But those outfits, I said, doesn't mean a thing. Elaborate disguises have been used for lesser evils. If what you described to me about her wardrobe is accurate, that's an awful lot of headbands to convince us of a false identity, I said. Cass's brow furrowed as she considered this. If Marie and I were a match for fencing, Cass and I were a perfectly paired for thinking problems through. Cass, you can't leave the kingdom. You just can't. She snapped out of her private thoughts. I can, actually. And I have to. There's no life for me here. And you know as well as I do, I can't risk your parents finding out that I snuck you out of the kingdom. But Corona needs you, I said. And I do too. I'll do my duty until after the festival, she said coldly, and my heart sank. Just a moment ago, she'd felt like my best friend again. Now she was all business. The guard should keep an extra eye on Marie. In the event that she's being dishonest, she might choose any moment to lead her very own revolution. And if they know about the lagoon, we'll be at serious risk. I'm going to rebel if I don't have something to eat, I said. I'm going to rebel, I said, trying to reel her back in with my humor. Fine, Cass said. But then we go straight to Xavier's. Of course, I said. She sighed and went to the baker shop. I saw Dahlia, the paint seller, setting up a display. I looked back and forth from Cassandra in the baker's window to Dahlia, who was adjusting the frame of what appeared to be her own work of art before she stepped back and evaluated it.
Oh boy.
Energy buzzed through me. I had an idea. I needed to paint something for Cass, something that would remind her of all the good times we had together. We'd been working so well for the past few days. I still had hope that I could get through to her. Art communicated when words failed. It can convey emotion without sentiment. I could use my paintbrush to speak a language that Cass might actually understand.
Oh.
Maybe language wasn't the key. If I could get the picture just right, she would know how important she was to Corona and to me. And I could present it to her at the Hidden Moon Festival. Excuse me, I said, approaching Dahlia. Oh, hi! Her warm, genuine smile put me immediately at ease. I noticed that her canvas had an almost completed painting on it. It depicted the castle in all its glory. It was full of village folks dressed in their finest attire and making the most of life. Dahlia's work was rich with detail. I spotted vendors proudly showing off their wares, children playing hide and seek in the castle gardens, and gardeners gesturing to their verdant arrangements. Most poignantly, she'd captured the faces of an older couple as they danced in the courtyard, and for a moment I lost my breath. Is that the Hidden Moon Festival? I asked. She bit her lip and nodded. I gazed at it. The scene was intimate and lively, and it made me feel just a little bit closer to Corona. My parents met and fell in love at this festival, Dahlia said. Really? I asked, a hand to my heart. I guess it was true what Mom had said about the villagers finding romance this time of year. Uh-huh, she said, smiling, and every year my whole family spends days getting ready. We sew our outfits by hand. This year, we'll all be in white to represent the hidden moon. That would be so beautiful, I said. Of course, I've never been to it. You'll love it, she said. It brings out the best in everybody. The chefs, the artists, the gardeners, the musicians, the dancers. It's like there's nowhere else you'd rather be, you know? Yes, I said, feeling genuine excitement for what seemed like another princess obligation. I gathered my courage and said, I was actually wondering if you might help me. Her face lit up. There's a special project I'd like to do. It's very personal. I'd love that, Dahlia said. It'd be a dream come true. I've always been a bystander at the festival, but to actually help the princess with a special project? Wow. Oh, good, I said, smiling because her enthusiasm was contagious. But it's kind of a secret, okay? Mum's the word, Dahlia said, her eyes shining. I'm so glad we had a chance to talk, I said. Come by the castle tomorrow. We'll be painting backdrops for the dance, a perfect cover for our real mission. Wraps, Cass called from the front of the bakery. I have to go, I said, waving as I walked away. See you tomorrow. What were you doing, Cass asked, handing me my pastry as I joined her. Asking Dahlia to display her expertise at the Hidden Moon Festival. I already told you. The royal portrait painter does that, Cass said. Everyone who displays needs to be vetted. I can vet her tomorrow, I said. We have to stay on task, Cass said. This time, there was no smile under her voice. I just have one more question, I said to Xavier. I pulled out my diary and showed him the phrase we'd read on the wall. What does this mean? Xavier studied the Sephorian words. Herein lies the treasure, bonded with an embrace. Let it not be disturbed. Where did you find this?
Yes.
In another book, Cassandra said. Rapunzel here is such a bookworm. I shrugged and smiled. Isn't Sephorian a beautiful language? Xavier said. I nodded. Luckily, in addition to the Lost Lagoon, I had copied a few other poems from the Green Book into my diary. Can you translate the other poems for us? The ones in Sephorian? I asked. I'd rather give you the tools to translate it yourself. I'm sure you'll find that to be much more satisfying of an experience. I'm so glad our returned princess has a love for languages. I'll have Marco deliver those books as soon as possible. They are buried deep in my storage trunks, so it may take until tomorrow. That'd be great, I said. Thanks for everything. Just then, Marco came out of the back room. The dagger has been perfected, Xavier. And just in time for the security for the Hidden Moon Festival, Xavier said. Can I see it? Cass asked. Be careful, young lady, Marco said. That's a very dangerous object you're holding. It's the thinnest, strongest blade on any continent. Marco ought to know, Xavier said. He's a world traveler, arrived here just a month ago from across the Solodin Sea, where he apprenticed the King's Guard. I have plenty of experience with daggers, Cass said, narrowing her eyes at a spot on the wall. So you don't need to worry about me. She's the daughter of the captain of the guard, I said. I didn't like the way Marco had assumed Cass might not know about her weapons. Cass made a swift motion with her hand, tossing the dagger with an expert's aim. Whoosh! We watched the dagger land with its blade in the doorframe. Xavier whistled in admiration. Not bad at all, Marco said. You've clearly been practicing for years. Didn't you try out for the Coronan Guard? Xavier asked. Marco blanched for a moment, but cleared his throat and said, Yes, though I knew it wasn't the place for me. Why is that? Cass asked. Her head cocked in interest. Our guard is the best in the world. I suppose I've learned over the years that understanding one's weaknesses is a gateway to true strength, he said with a sigh. Xavier nodded. I could see why these two worked together. What do you mean? Cass asked. I have always wanted to be a defender of the kingdom, Marco continued, but alas, I wasn't built for it. Bravery, physical prowess, and coordination, they just aren't my talents. They're mine, Cass said. Clearly, Xavier said, removing the dagger from the doorframe. But I'm not allowed to join the guard, Cass said. Not now, maybe, Marco said. The one thing we can count on here is change. Cass almost grinned. Something gave color to her cheeks, and I guessed it was hope. As for me, I knew I would never rise above the rank of an apprentice, Marco said. What are your true talents? I asked. Marco smiled and tapped his head. Me, I'm a thinker. I'm hungry for knowledge above all. History is a never-ending puzzle to me. Language is a universe of wonder. And you're handy with the wielding iron. As well, Xavier said with a chuckle, which helps in this position. That's true, Marco said. This is the best of all worlds. Working for you, the wisest and most knowledgeable man in all of Corona, is clearly where I belong. I'd like one of those daggers someday, Cass said. Then I'm sure you will have one, Marco said. Just maybe not when you expect it. Destiny is a little fickle. But as long as we pursue our dreams, she eventually will let us catch her. And then, my dears, when we are living our dreams, the world is ours.
Okay. I don't like this Marco character. I don't know about you guys. How we all doing? How are we going here? Oh, we have a little bit left. Okay. All right.
Marco.
Hello.
Marco.
Hello.
Marco.
Elsa. Samantha. Wrong series. I don't like Marco. Chapter 23. Since Marco wasn't scheduled to deliver the books until that evening, I insisted we go to the lagoon to practice the winged beast, which I appreciated. But what I had told Raps that afternoon was still true. I was leaving. Even if the mystery of the lagoon tugged at me like an encouraging hand, pulling me back, there was no way I was going to live in fear of being sent away or labeled as untrustworthy. Okay. That would make it seem impossible for me to pursue a life of dignity and service. Marco's words about destiny echoed in my mind. I would not play it safe. I would hold fast to my dream of living a life of adventure and freedom. I would never give up on joining a guard, even if it meant not being part of the Coronan one. We were in the shady glade of the lagoon. I opened the Ultimate Warrior Handbook and pointed to the diagram labeled the Winged Beast and said, "This is the move that will set me apart from the others." "Looks complicated," Rap said. She took a deep breath. "But we can do it if we try." I handed the book to her and stretched out my hamstrings as she began to read. The Winged Beast has only been performed by the highest level of warrior. It is said that soldiers who are able to execute this highly sophisticated maneuver have reached a level of mastery. "Geez," she said, turning the book sideways to see the illustration from another angle. "No wonder it's so impressive. This is some serious gymnastics." "So you don't think you can help me?" I asked. "I didn't say that," she said. "We'll get to work on it right now. I think you're going to have to get on my shoulders." "You'll be getting on my shoulders," I said. "I'll be..." Stop. Stop. You're blushing. You'll be... Anyway, "You'll be getting on my shoulders," I said. "I'll be the base and you'll be the wings." "If you say so," she said. She kept reading. "The strength comes from the soldier who serves as the base, while the one who operates as the wings must completely surrender his or her life to his or her partner." Raps paused and bit her lip. Surrender her life?" "If you land the wrong way, you'll break your neck," I said. "If it wasn't life-threatening, it wouldn't be the Ultimate Warrior move, would it?" Raps nodded. "What, do you not trust me?" "Of course I do," she said. I waited a good 3 seconds before I started laughing. "I'm teasing you, Raps. You have your hair as a backup." "Oh," she said, exhaling with relief. "I got you so good," I said as we both laughed. With anyone else, they'd be trusting me with their life, but you can wrap your hair around a branch, so you're not in danger of hitting the ground. But you were really going to do it, weren't you? "I was," she admitted. "I was scared, but I was." Wow, Rapunzel's just like, I will die for you. This wasn't nothing to me. She was loyal in most things, and we had been having fun lately. After we both stretched, we got to work. It took a few minutes to get into position. "And on the count of 3, I'm going to use my hands to propel your foot upward," I said to Rapunzel. "Let's do this with the doll." All right, you do this, and then I'll read it.
What am I doing?
Well, in a few... Okay, I'm using my hands to propel your foot upward, I said to Rapunzel. We practiced again and again to no avail, but I was determined to at least master the first step of the Winged Beast. The entire move involved 2 soldiers appearing as a single person, with one hiding behind the other. "Fellas, is it gay to willingly put your life in the hands of your gal pal?"
No.
No, Rapunzel was ready to break her neck without even thinking.
I just broke Cass's hand.
You broke Cass's hand? All right. Winged Beast, everyone. Okay. Then while the base distracted the enemy, the wings climbed on the base's back wielding a knife. In a fast and fearless move, the base then flung the wings into the air. Rapunzel's on top. No, Rapunzel on top.
Oh.
Yeah. So the base flung the wings into the air, giving the wings the latitude to flip, flying toward the unsuspecting enemy head first, knocking him unconscious. The trick was that the base then had to catch the wings before she landed on her head, at the risk of major injury was high. Rapunzel's hair wrapped around a tree branch how's that going? Nice. Took most of the danger out of it, but it was still pretty scary to release her into the air. One wrong move and she could injure herself. The only way to pull off the move was for the wings to fall head first with total trust. Oh my God, how do you... "I think you need to fling me a little higher," Raps said, swinging from a tree by her hair after the 10th or 11th try. "I can't seem to get enough air to fall face down." "We can keep building up our arm strength," I said. "The book says it's all about alignment, though," Rapunzel said as she climbed up her hair to the tree branch so she could untangle herself from its limbs. Then I guess we'll have to align better next time, I said, wiping sweat from from my brow. I had to admit this was exhausting. Let's go for a swim before we head back to the castle, she said. Maybe we'll find more hidden notes. We only have a few minutes, though, I said. And your mom asked me yesterday why we're both so tan. What did you tell her? Rap said as she freed herself and jumped back down to the ground. I said you just couldn't get enough of Coronan flora and fauna and that... Hey, this is a cool rock, Rap said suddenly. Oh, can I see that? I asked. Sure, she said, handing it over. This isn't a rock, I said. It's a relic, a genuine spearhead, and it belonged to nobility. How can you tell? She asked. The shape of it and the markings right here. But it's missing the tip. Look, it's soft where it should be sharpest. That's really odd. Are you sure it's not just a stone? She asked. I'm sure. Check out these lines. They were definitely carved in. I know there are some books about military history back in the library, Rap said, and this will definitely give us a clue about who's been here before. I had a moment then as we were walking back, an idea that I should stay in Corona, that Rapunzel and I had work to do together, long-term work. But I couldn't live with knowing that I could very well be banished at any moment. So I tossed the thought aside, holding the spearhead tightly in my fist. That was hard.
Long term.
That was hard.
All right. Chapter 24, page 179. 179. All right. So, you're looking for books about old weapons, eh? Asked the ancient librarian, Kennard. Eh? He had a trim white beard, a smile that made his whole face crinkle up, and glasses that balanced on the edge of a noble nose. It was the next morning, and Cass and I had decided to stop by during Kennard's working hours in case he could help us. Yes, I said. Spearhead specifically, Cass said. I'm afraid that our weapons selection is limited, Kennard said, handing us 3 volumes, but perhaps one of these books will be useful. Are you prepared for the Hidden Moon Festival? While Cass searched through the books. I'm as busy as I can be, he said. I'm giving a lecture on their books, leading a bookbinding workshop, and holding a storytelling hour for the children. That's what we're doing. That sounds fun, I said. What book are you going to read to them? A Flynn Rider story would be appropriate, don't you think? Absolutely, I said, knowing instantly that Eugene wouldn't miss that for the world. I'm a bit behind, however. The library's been busier than normal, Kennard said, as he gestured to the books that needed to be reshelved. Lots of people preparing for the festival, Cass asked, suddenly alert. Yes, I've had a lot of patrons. Some I recognize, some I do not. The dance instructor, Lafleur, has been in here many times, searching the geography section, and one visitor, Marie of Harvan, is an avid reader of Coronan history. She is? I asked, locking eyes with Cass. In fact, she has some overdue finds. I hate to be a bother, he said, but perhaps you could ever so subtly remind her of this if you see her. That won't be a problem, Cass said, bringing the books to the counter to check them out. In fact, we're seeing her shortly, I said. La 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 la, scene change.
Scene change.
There is nothing in those about this oddly shaped spearhead, I said, as we made our way to the Great Hall. It was time to suit up for fencing practice. It has to be something, Cass said, turning the spearhead over in her hands. Could it be one of the precious stones? Is this whole poem about military? Well, the spearhead doesn't exactly sparkle, I said. It's just a rock in a certain shape. We explored every inch of that cove on our last visit. The only stones that seem precious are these, at least when the sun shines on them. I lifted my hand to reveal the bracelet. Cass stared at her own wrist. Despite her frustrations with me, she still hadn't taken hers off. There's no way those are jewels, she said. They're just pieces of dull glass. Nothing special. I frowned and swallowed my hurt. How could you say they were nothing special?
No!
Look, after we've grilled Marie about the ancient power, we're going to have to up your fencing game, Cass said. You can't have Marie beat you. Fencing requires the physical agility of ballet, the strength of... She was about to launch into an explanation when Dahlia appeared. Hi, I said, greeting her with gusto. Gus. She was a breath of fresh air after Cass's remark. I'm so happy to be here, she said, with a wide smile. Are you ready to talk? We need to go somewhere a little more private, right? What? Cass asked, her hand on her hips. Excuse me, Dahlia, but you're not supposed to be here. Cass, Dahlia is here to help us prepare for the Hidden Moon Festival, I said. I really want her to participate. It's where her parents met and fell in love. Plus, she's a great artist. We'll need some help with those backdrops. This really is a dream come true, Dahlia said. No. The castle painters will finish them in time. They always do. And this goes against protocol. Cass eyed me. If anyone was committed to her duty, it was Cass. How could I convince her not to worry about Dahlia? You can't just invite anybody to be a part of the castle festivities, perhaps. She's my top choice for the artist's assistants, I said, ushering Dahlia aside. Cass shook her head and began sharpening the swords. I lowered my voice to speak to Dahlia. So I'm actually making a secret present for Cassandra that I'll give her during the festival. And I want it to be something really beautiful, something about friendship. I'm going to need your best, most colorful pinks. That won't be a problem, Dahlia said. I promise I'll get you everything you need. She took a deep breath. Can I just say it's amazing to be here right now? Getting ready for the festival behind the scenes. Oh, I just love it. Do you really need help with those backdrops? I think we have it covered, but maybe you should make it look as though you're taking notes, I asked. They'll keep Cass off the scent. Sure. I'll walk around like I'm getting a sense of the place, Dahlia said, pulling out her sketchbook, and strolling the perimeter. I walked back over to join Cass. And why exactly do you trust her? Cass asked when Dahlia was out of earshot. Trust me, I said. She's fine. She's loved this festival ever since she was a little girl. And she's a real artist. We don't know her, Cass said. I watched Dahlia sketch the hall. There's nothing off about her. I was sure of it. Hello, ladies. Are you ready to practice? It was Marie, who appeared to not have one, but two fencing outfits. This one had a bow on the face mask. Yes, I said. Before we start, however, Cass said, we want to know why you've been taking books on Coronan history out of the library. What exactly are you after? You are most brash, Marie said. And you're suspicious, Cass countered. Dahlia took several steps in our direction to sketch the stage from a different perspective. I was hoping to embroider my fencing outfit with historical emblems of your kingdom, if you must know, Marie said, and tears were welling in her eyes. It was going to be a surprise. Do you need any colorful thread? Dahlia asked. I have some really beautiful spools all the way from East Hall. Hervanian Whoville thread. Whoville thread is finest in the world. Marie's brow crinkled with offense. Why would I ever use anything else? She sniffed. Sorry, Dahlia replied. I'd love to see the thread, I said to Dahlia. And thank you for researching our emblems, Marie. That's really thoughtful. I handed Marie a tissue. The princess was appearing more and more to be innocent. Mm-hmm. Cass grunted in frustration. We'll get back to this, Marie. But right now, I'm not so sure. Oh my goodness. We'll get back to this, Marie. But right now, I'm not sure the premises are safe. If you'll excuse me, I need to escort someone out of the castle. Cass nodded at Dahlia. I was really making her job difficult, but I had to believe she would understand when she saw my gift. Don't worry, I'll show you the door, I said, gesturing for Dahlia to follow me. I'll talk to you later, I whispered as we headed to the exit. Tomorrow. Absolutely, Dahlia whispered in return, and then she left. Cass glared at me. She's gone, I said. In my culture, ladies in waiting must display obedience, Marie exclaimed.
Well.
Not here, I said, meaning Cass's exasperated eyes. Not here.
Obedience. Chapter 25. You can't invite people into the castle until you get to know them better, I explained to Raps as she sketched out her vision for the backdrop of the Great Hall. We'd had a particularly exhausting fencing practice. Marie was energized by her anger at me, especially not now when the book has gone missing. But Dahlia gave me no reason not to trust her. She looked up from her drawing. Do you really think that my instincts are so wrong? I think they're untrained instincts, I replied. Isn't that what instincts are? She asked. Not when it comes to security. There was a knock on the door. I'll get it, I said. Who is it? A special delivery for the princess, a man said as Rapunzel hopped off her bed to join me. I gestured for her to stay back. I was still her lady in waiting, after all, and it was my job to answer the door. Marco stood at the threshold with 3 books, Old Saporian, a guide, the Saporian Dictionary, and Fairy Tales of Saporia. Thanks so much, I said. Yes, we can't wait to read them, Rapunzel said. We reached for them at the same time, and the spearhead fell from my pocket. I bent down to retrieve it as quickly as possible. What's that? Marco asked. Lucky rock, I answered. May I see it? I'm always interested in old rocks. They're like old words, aren't they, carrying history in their shape, Marco said. No, I said. Lucky rock. She is so superstitious, Rapunzel said, stepping in front of me. If anyone else touches her lucky rock, she thinks it will lose its luck. I see, said Marco. No problem, though you certainly didn't strike me as the fanciful type. You don't know me very well, I said. I guess I'll be on my way then, Marco said. Here's a note from Xavier. As soon as Marco was gone, Rapunzel opened the small envelope. It seemed impossible that Xavier's big hands could have formed such small letters. The writing was tiny and precise. What's it say? I asked. Where 2 languages meet, a third forms between them. The place in between 2 souls. A place that wouldn't exist without what each one brings to it. Enjoy the art of translation. Huh? I think he means that languages are kind of like colors. Each stands on its own, but when they meet, they create something new, she said. I don't get it, I said. As Rapunzel copied the words in her diary, I opened the Saporian Dictionary, focusing on the title of the poem that followed the Lost Lagoon, Lunati. It means having to do with the moon, I said. What does? Rapunzel asked, looking up. Lunati, the next poem, I said. Oh, Rapunzel said. She clapped her hands, unable to contain her enthusiasm. We need to go there when the moon is bright. It's true that we've never been to the lagoon in the night, I said. This has to be a clue. But the last time we stuck out at night, she said. She did not need to complete the sentence. I'm willing to take the risk if you are, I said. She paused, touching her hair. This is about Corona, I said. She nodded solemnly. And no one will ever know, she said, as if she could read my mind. Tomorrow, I said. Why not tonight? We need to interview the chefs for the cooking demonstrations. And after that, we're evaluating the tailors. We can't appear as though anything is out of the ordinary. And anyway, it's cloudy tonight. We need the light of the moon to be as clear as possible. But do we have time? She asked, her eyes brimming with emotion. You're only staying for another 5 days, unless you've changed your mind? No, I said, I haven't. A lot can happen in 5 days. It's plenty of time. If you say so, she said, burying her face in the book. I say so, I said. That was quick.
Drinking my tea.
Lucky rock! It's my lucky rock.
Don't you forget
Don't touch my lucky rock. I don't have a lucky rock.
Oh, I'll get you one.
My lucky rock, actually.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
All right, chapter 26, page 190.
What? Yo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, the sights and sounds of the marketplace were a pleasing jolt to the senses. I pulled my cloak over my shoulders and around my face, delighted to be an anonymous shopper on a bustling afternoon. Cassandra was at a meeting for all the castle staff in preparation for the festival. With my hair as my helper.
My hair is my helper.
With my hair as my helper.
My hair is my helper.
Able to descend from my window without anyone even noticing I had slipped away. If I hurried, I would only be gone for an hour. For the briefest moments, I was free, and as I took in the scene around me, my heart jumped inside my chest. Nearby, a spice seller touted an arm that she swore would enliven any stew. And when I leaned over to sniff it, it made my eyes water. We shared a laugh, and she presented me with bunches of rosemary, marijuana, marjoram, with bunches of rosemary, marjoram, and sage. I closed my eyes and inhaled their scents. We had these spices in the castle gardens, of course, but there was just something about seeing them displayed on the seller's cart that made them seem so new. The baker with the sweet blackberry and cream pastries was open as well, and I made sure to stop by her little shop. The aroma was almost burning butter. of almost burning butter lured me toward the small shop like an invisible rope. A bell above the door rang as I entered. "Why a cloak on such a warm day, dear?" the baker asked. Her cheeks were pink and her face appeared even more round because of the bonnet on her head. "Protection from the sun," I said. "I'm very fair." A small film of precipitation had gathered on my brow, and I dabbed it with a handkerchief. "What are these?" I asked, pointing to the buns that Cassandra had bought for us the other day. "Blackberry buns," she said. "These are my favorite treats," I said. "What's in them?" "That's my secret," she said, giving me a jolly smile. I couldn't wait to get out of the shop before I devoured one, as she laughed as she watched me. Now it was time to get down to business, the reason why I went that day, and without Cass. I knew how much Cass liked going to the market, and that she would be upset if she knew I went without her. But this needed to be a solo trip. First of all, it was nice to have a little break from Cass, who could be downright paranoid about safety. I also wanted more alone time with Dahlia to discuss Cass's gift. I decided the night before that it had to be a small painting and only for Cassandra's eyes. But I needed some supplies. Dahlia's cart was decorated with the most extraordinarily rich colors: deep blues and bright oranges, teal and maroon, jewel tones. The array of paints was wider than any I had ever seen. "Hi, I was going to come back later to help you paint," Dahlia said. Freckles dotted her nose. Her eyes were green, and the dress she wore, which was an eggplant color, set them off like gems. "Yes, but I wanted to make sure I caught you alone for my secret project. Can you show me your last shipment of colors?" I asked. A boat arrived at dawn with the new shades from Skyron.
Skyrim?
From Scaron. They're the best paint in all the world. "Wow," I said as she opened a drawer and displayed over 100 colors. I can't even explain what I'm feeling right now. The possibilities for expression are exploding in my mind. "Rapunzel, you are a real artist, aren't you?" she asked. "Yes," I said, and it felt good to say it. Finally, someone who really wanted to talk about the same things I did. "Painting is my favorite," Dahlia said, "though I draw too. Would you like to see my pastels?" "I'd love to." She was revealing a tray of gorgeous colors when I felt a tap on my shoulder. "Rapunzel?" I turned around to see Cassandra. "What are you doing here?" "Just picking out some paint for the festival," I said. Why did I feel like I was getting in trouble? "I really need you to get back to the castle," Cass said to Dahlia. Turning to me, she said, "You're not supposed to be out here without me, or a guard." "She just wants some paint," Dahlia said. "What's the crime in that? Princess, would you like me to bring these paints back to the castle later?" "I'd love that," I said. "Can you come right to my room?" "Yes," Dahlia said. "Rapunzel's busy," Cass said, ushering me away. "She has to prepare for a fencing match in front of the entire kingdom. She'll be meeting vendors, attending lectures, and being an all-around representative for the royal family. She's not going to have time to mingle with one person for more than a few minutes." Dahlia pulled back and gave me a quizzical look. "It's fine," I mouthed. "See you then." Dahlia smiled hopefully at me. "We need to get you home," Cass said, ushering me away. "Have you lost your mind? You could be confined even more if your parents knew you were out at the market without me. And inviting someone back to your personal room, that breaks every rule there is." "I'm fine," I assured her. If she only knew that I was there for her, to buy the tools to create a painting that would convince her to stay in Corona, where she belonged. La 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 la. Scene change.
Scene change. Oh, that's her hair. Oopsies.
Later that evening, after I'd interviewed the national brush team and tested the courts for smoothness and levelness with the team captain, I then met with the crocheting league and admired their elaborate and delicate blankets, Cass and I returned to my room. "Did you leave the door open?" Cass asked me as she pushed it open. "Gosh, no," I said. "That's weird," she said, "because when I was trying to unlock it, I actually locked it, which means it was unlocked. I always lock the door. Besides, weren't you the last one here when you fetched my fencing gear? Did you forget?" "Please," she said, as she struck a match. "Such a grievous lapse of protocol would never." She lit the central lantern. We both gasped. The bookshelves had been torn apart.
Oh, no.
Books were everywhere.
Sorry, I'm invested.
The books had been torn. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry.
The bookshelves had been torn apart. Books were everywhere. The door to my wardrobe was open, gowns scattered on the floor. The sofa cushions were overturned. My personal drawers had been pulled out from my bureau, all of the collections and papers having been rifled through. I plunged my hand beneath my mattress, where my diary remained intact, safe. Thank goodness, I thought, as tears rolled down my cheeks.
No. No, Rapunzel.
Oh no!
Oh gosh. Chapter 27. The intruder hadn't actually taken anything, and that made it all the more unnerving. Rapunzel and I walked to the lagoon that night. We had decided that despite the break-in, or rather because of it, we had to go to the lagoon as we planned. I would never show it, but I was rattled. Someone had dared break into the princess's room? What kind of a brazen fool would do such a thing? And where had the guards been? Playing cards? Taking a nap? Gossiping? It was a good thing I was getting out of there, where the standards had slipped. And yet my stomach churned. Clearly they needed me more than ever. I was the only person in the place who could do the job properly. Or was I?
Oh.
This had happened under my watch. I clutched my side where a pain had formed. Where had I gone wrong? Are you okay, Cassandra?
Uh-oh.
After we'd cleaned up Rapunzel's room, we'd done everything according to our routine. In addition to the Hidden Moon Festival duties, we'd dined with her parents and the Hervanians. Marie was still sore with me, but I didn't believe this was her work. Someone as fastidious as she, right? Fastidious? Yes. Fastidious? Fastidious? Fastidious. Someone as fastidious as she wouldn't have left that kind of mess. Raps had an evening walk with Eugene and a fireside chat with the Queen before the lights out. During that time, I had been preparing for the festival, checking in with all of the maids and making sure they understood their duties. I didn't want to alert the guards about the break-in. That would have been a disaster. My father would have stepped in, and I didn't want to risk him finding out about the lagoon. But the break-in has definitely made our quest more pressing. Whoever had broken in was on a search, and I had a terrible feeling someone else was looking for the ancient power. Why else would her jewelry box not have been raided? Any thief worth his salt would know its contents were worth a fortune. That wasn't the fortune this intruder was after. At 10:30, Raps and I tiptoed down a back staircase, through a kitchen, and out of the larder window. From there, we made a mad dash to the lagoon. Now, as we walked through the forest that had become so familiar to us, I tried to let Rapunzel know how cautious she needed to be around strangers. I think it was Dahlia, I said. What? Why in the world would it be Dahlia? She said. There's something sneaky about her. It wouldn't surprise me if she had a secret desire to take over the kingdom, I said. What? I'm telling you, you have her all wrong, Rap said. Kinnaird said that Lafleur was examining regional geography. He's writing a ballet, I said. I was done with Lafleur as a suspect. It had to be someone fresh, someone I didn't know much about. Who was the most recent addition to our lives? Who had wormed her way into Raps's heart? Dahlia. Plus, she'd overheard us talking about who had wormed her way into Rapunzel's heart. Dahlia. Plus, she'd overheard us talking about the ancient power. I pushed aside some branches as the familiar gulch came into view. If I'm not going to be here to protect you, you can't go around inviting people into your chambers. For all you know, you could be inviting an enemy of the state right into the heart of the castle. That's you. You're the heart of the castle. Is that what you want? What I want is to have friends, she said. To my surprise, she took a gentle but firm hold of my arm. You're starting to sound like my parents. That's ridiculous. Not everyone is trying to hurt me, Cass, or you. Except that someone broke into your room, I said more sharply than I'd intended to. You trust everyone, and that's not appropriate. And you trust no one, she said, crossing her arms. Oh. Not Dahlia, not Eugene, not even me anymore. I trust Owl, and Fidela, and Maximus, and even Pascal. There. Aww. That's 4 beings. Maybe it was a common thief, she suggested, who didn't want your jewels. I trust her, so please give Dahlia a chance. She's so creative and a fellow artist. You never want to talk about artsy stuff with me, she said. That's not true, I said. I guess I get a little skeptical when you start talking about seeing people's auras and the feeling that green gives you, or how something is so white it practically has a sound. But sometimes I need to talk about those things, just like you want to talk about armor or spearheads, she said. But that stuff is interesting, I said. Double, I said. Ugh, Cass, so can you just open your mind just a little, Rapunzel asked. No. It wasn't Dahlia, she said. I'm not going to bend on this. I just know it in my gut. Okay, I believe you. Really? She asked, delighted. Yeah, fine. Talk with her during the Hidden Moon Festival, but don't take her beyond the public areas. Thank you, Rapunzel said. We faced each other, appearing to have some kind of staring contest. Are we going to do this or what? Oh, there's no way I'm not doing this, I said. Now that Rapunzel's hair was long, we could travel over the gulch. Now that Rapunzel's hair was long, we could travel over the gulch in no time. Rapunzel tossed her hair across the chasm and wound it around a tree branch. Usually she let me hang on her back so we could leap together. But tonight, while she flew over the cragged rocks to the lagoon, she left me on the other side to navigate the area by myself. Thanks a lot, I muttered under my breath. Wow, I heard her say from the other side as I struggled across the awkward passage. That sounds a lot like Rapunzel Day 1. Yeah, it does. What? I asked, wiping sweat from my brow. The moon was at its zenith, shining brightly from the very top of the sky. Cool water rushed under my feet. Are there jewels, weapons? What do you see? It's just so beautiful, Rapunzel said. I think the lagoon has a tide just like the ocean. The water's higher. But what do you see? I asked again, trudging through the gulch. Are there jewels or not? I can't tell, she called back. When I arrived on the other side, Rapunzel had her skirts gathered in her hands and was knee-deep in the lagoon, staring into the water as if in a trance. Cass, look! She pointed to a school of fish as bright as drops of sunlight. I've heard of fish that change color at night, but I've never seen them. Whoa, I said as they circled the jewels, which now appeared to be shimmering yellow. Have you ever seen anything like it? Rapunzel said. The jewels must have some secret power at midnight. We have to get them. Except my hair, she said. I can't risk getting it wet. She was right. Queen Ariana would not be pleased if Raps showed up with a dripping head of hair. It wasn't easy to dry 70 feet of unbreakable locks. It took hours of laying it out in direct sunlight. That sounds terrible. Rapunzel and I had made up a million reasons why she needed frequent hair washes to cover for other outings to the lagoon, but we'd always come in the morning when we'd have time for those cover-ups. We didn't have any time for that now, and there was no way her hair would dry on its own. I'll go get them, I said. While Rapunzel waited on the rocks, I dove for the sparkling gems, but what I came up with instead was the same stones we'd known about for months. It was all just a trick of the light. So much for the great art of translation, I said. We're not any closer to figuring out this poem. What are we missing? Rapunzel asked. We have to be missing something. That water looks too magical to be just water. It's pretty great in here, I said, splashing around. Don't rub it in, Rapunzel said. Sorry, I said, and splashed her. Oh, she said, and splashed me back. Oh, splash, splash, splash. Splish, splash, I was taking it. Do you think I'll change color too if I swim with those fish? I said. It was fun to tease her. I'll just swim to the waterfall and back, and then we can head back to the castle. Fine, Rapunzel said, arms crossed. I dove under the water and swam for as long as I could while holding my breath. My goal was to make it to the waterfall without having to come up for air, and I was almost there. When I surfaced, about to tip my head under the rushing water, I screamed in surprise. Rapunzel's face peered through the other side of the waterfall. Blah! I gotcha, she said. She grabbed me under the arms. Ah, I said again as she used her hair to gain momentum and swung us both around the tree branch and then up in the air. At what felt like the moon's zenith, she let go. We looked at each other in midair and, screaming with laughter, plunged into the lagoon. Water fight, I said, giggling as I surfaced. Are you sure about that? She asked, her eyes sparkling with mischief. She grabbed her hair, which was dripping like a whale's tail. Actually, I started. Too late, she said joyfully, shaking her head. She flung her sopping wet hair over the lagoon, creating a mini rainstorm. No fair, I said, wiping water from my eyes. Hey, if we push those rocks together, do you think we could make a water slide like over the waterfall? Only one way to find out, Rapunzel said. So much fun. Back at the castle, we came up with a few creative solutions to dry Rapunzel's hair as quickly and quietly as possible. First, we used every towel we could find to wring out as much as we could, but it wasn't enough. Then we hung her hair out the window and hoped for a strong breeze. We're going to have to create our own breeze, Rap said, her cheek resting on the windowsill. I called for Owl, who gathered the other owls. They flapped their wings and sailed Raps's hair through the air until it was nearly dry. This is kind of weird, Raps said.
I'll say.
I think we need more time to figure things out, I said. Really? Raps asked. Why? You've changed your mind? No, I said firmly. It's just that there have been 2 security breaches lately, the stolen book and the break-in. One of the guiding principles of the Guard said, where there's a need for soldiers, we arise, prepared and ready to face battle. Who was I if I left in the middle of this chaos? And as for this mystery, we were close. I could feel it with every fiber of my being. You know, we can find the lagoon's ancient power together, she said, as though she could read my mind. Then a shadow crossed her face. But the festival is tomorrow. So we'll go back to the lagoon tomorrow night after the festival is over, I said. I'll bring my maps. You get out the dictionaries. We'll translate every word of this poem and get to the bottom of this. And then I'll have fulfilled my every obligation to Corona. That sounds perfect, Rapunzel said as the owls continued to dry her hair. Wait, except tomorrow's the eclipse, and there needs to be moonlight according to the poem. Oh, right. I guess it'll have to be the next night then. Raps looked hopeful. You're going to stay an extra day? Just one, I said, sounding more sure than I felt. Okay, this is going to be fun, she said, flashing her brightest smile as the owls continued their swoops and dives in the most bizarre hair blower method of the century.
I thought that was part of the book.
No, it wasn't. My computer's gonna die. All right, I think we have 1 chapter left.
Let's see. You want to grab the
Charger? Yeah.
Let me see.
2 chapters left?
3.
Okay, we have 3 chapters left, everyone. This is a long, part 2 is very long. Thank you for staying with us. Those of you who have been popping in and out. Popping in and out. Hope you're still reading along. We are almost done with part 2. I love that they made like a water slide. That's so stinking cute.
Really
I'm
cute.
gonna find my charger.
Okay. All right. Cass is locating the charger for the computer. We are on chapter 28, page 207. On the dawn of the festival, everyone wore white to represent the moon that would be absent that night, just as Dahlia had described. The Dawsons guiding the villagers into the position. The crowd formed a crescent shape. Maria and I stood on the balcony in our fencing gear, taking in the masses of people. True to her word, her suit was embroidered with historical symbols of Corona. Her needlework was as exact as her battle tackle. I had to admit, my opponent was dressed for success. My own suit had a giant sun emblem on it. I touched for both of us. Then Marie began her usual set of stretches and martial arts moves. I took some deep, focusing breaths. Cass straightened my mask as she gave me a pep talk. Remember, she said, fencing is as mental as it is physical. So stay focused.
Yay. Okay, I'm going to attempt to plug this in, and it might freeze the video. Hold on. Everyone's still there?
Yep.
We okay? Okay, cool. Okay. Sometimes when I plug in my laptop, it shuts down. I don't know.
Cass straightened my mask as she gave me a pep talk. Remember, she said, fencing is as mental as it is physical. Yes. Stay focused. Got it. And what about the hair, I asked. Is it off limits? For sword grabbing, yes. But as far as distraction technique, well, I don't see a problem there. Could be fun, I said. Marie's always up for a challenge. Wait a second. What is he doing? Cass asked, pointing to Lafleur, who was with his team of dancers, passing candles out to the crowd. He stood out in his white robe, trimmed with bright gold. He also wore an elaborate headpiece with streamers flowing from it. Looks like he's trying to add some atmosphere, I said, as the small lights seemed to multiply. Or starting a fire, Cass said. And of course, the fire regulator is nowhere in sight. Ugh, I'm going to have to get down there and keep an eye on things. After that, I'll be refereeing the Bosch game.
Bocce? Wait, where are we looking here?
Bocce.
That's bocce. That's when you throw the balls and try to get close to the little one, and then you hit each other. Bocce.
Never heard of that.
Oh, it's fun. It's a long game.
The bocce game, and then acting as a royal taster for the Great Bake Off. I bet there'll be so many amazing desserts, I said. Apple tarts and chocolate cakes, pastries.
I want chocolate cake.
Oh, yeah, well, I'd rather be leading a weapons demonstration, Cass said, tightening my belt. But they've assigned that to the guards. Good luck. I'm not taking my eyes off of LaFleur until every one of those candles is extinguished. Otherwise, Twinkle Toes down there is going to turn us into a suit. Hello, my mother called to the people as she and my father joined Marie and I on the balcony. And welcome to the first event of the Hidden Moon Festival. The crowd cheered. We are delighted and honored to have Lady Marie of Hervan joining our dear Princess Rapunzel in a friendly fencing match to kick off the festivities. Once again, applause washed over us like a wave. My fingers began to tingle with nervousness and excitement. Are you ready, girls? Girls?
Girls?
Are you ready, girls?
Ready, girls?
I am, I said with a smile. Always, Marie said. Her fierceness still surprised me.
Allez, prête allez.
Prête allez, Dad shouted.
Ready, go.
Yeah. We prayed and counted and counter-prayed, and before long, Marie had pulled a feint and scored a point. The audience cheered at Marie's victory and then chanted my name. It was a friendly match, of course, but people couldn't seem to help reveling in the entertainment of it all. Marie assumed a ready stance, and I regained my composure. I could hear Cass in my mind telling me to focus and strategize. As she said, fencing was as mental as it was physical. Find your foe's mental weakness, Cass had instructed. This is the key. My breath was loud and rhythmic under the cover of my mask. Pride, I thought as I met Marie's gaze. Her weakness is pride. Before I could register any more thoughts, Marie lunged and scored another point. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my mother's concerned expression. This is all a part of the plan, I thought, faking a move, which Marie quickly reversed, scoring yet another. The villagers were quiet. I imagined they didn't want to see their princess so handily defeated. Marie's eyes were smiling. Her confidence was up. Now was the time. I spun away from her, causing my braid to create a whirling shield behind me. With a bluster and a low lunge, I attacked and scored a point of my own. The crowd cheered. Marie grinned. This was a match. La 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 la, scene change. Okay, so more about my special project, I started telling Dahlia after the fencing competition. Marie and I had battled it out with our whole hearts. In the end, it was a tie. We were both okay with that. You have shown yourself to be the most worthy competitor, Marie said, with a bow. You're the best guest, I replied, because you challenge us to rise to the occasion. She had beamed. Now Dahlia and I were in the grand hall, putting finishing touches on the backdrop for the banquet, and I was whispering because I didn't want anyone to hear me. I knew that part of power. I knew that part of the power of my gift to Cassandra would be the surprise of it, so I didn't want anyone to overhear my plan. Can you speak up? Dahlia asked over the din. I can't really hear you. I want to make something really unusual, I whispered again over the passerby, waving to a passerby.
Make some more blowout.
Is there any way we could go somewhere a little quieter? Dahlia asked. Sure, I said, though Cass's words about not letting her beyond the spaces that had been made public were circling in my mind. Follow me. We went to the library, and it was packed. Kennard was entertaining the children and beaming. What?
Why do I not remember who that person is?
He's the librarian.
Oh, right, okay.
Kennard was entertaining the children and a beaming Eugene with tales of Flynn Rider. We tried the royal dining room, but the chefs in there were so busy demonstrating broth-making techniques to eager home cooks that I could tell we were underfoot. We tried the wardrobe room, but the royal dressmakers were lecturing about the latest sewing methods to crowds of tailors. We even went to the gardens, but the groundskeepers and gardeners were leading educational tours. Just come to my room, I said. I had some time before my next event, and the ball was still a couple of hours away. Thankfully, the guards were so distracted by all the activities in the castle that I was able to sneak Dahlia up the back staircase unnoticed. I knew Cassandra wouldn't be pleased, but I really thought she was overreacting. Nothing about Dahlia seemed dangerous. She was simply a fellow artist, not an enemy of the state. Cass was looking on the dark side, as per usual. So this is what a princess's room looks like, Dahlia said, taking in the high ceilings, the huge windows framed by flowing drapes, and my enormous bed. Yes, I said, this is my room. As Dahlia ran her hands along the intricate tiles around my fireplace, admiring the design, I knew I had been right all along. All she cared about was art. Tell me more about this project, Dahlia said, her dimples deepening with her smile. Well, I said, making myself comfortable on a floor cushion, I want to make something really special. Things had been going so well with Cass lately. The perfect gift might be all she needed to convince her to stay. It was weird, but I felt like I could speak to Dahlia about my artistic thoughts without any embarrassment. Cassandra would have probably made fun of me, but Dahlia was nodding in genuine understanding. I gestured to a matching cushion as Pascal lit the fireplace. Wow.
Pascal lit the fireplace?
What's your vision? Dahlia asked, crossing her legs, cupping her chin in her hands and leaning in. The scene is a gorgeous... I paused. I had promised not to tell anyone about the lagoon, so I tried to make it sound theoretical. I tried to come up with a synonym for lagoon and thought of Marco's word, sinkhole.
Sinkhole?
A sinkhole? Dahlia said, contemplating the word, her face illuminated with a pinkish light by the fire. It's an ugly word for a possibly beautiful place, but I like it. I have a thing for contradictions. I want to paint the morning light at the sinkhole.
Sinkhole, that's awful.
And I want it to feel magical, I said. The color should be ethereal. Ethereal. Dahlia said. I'm feeling purples. I'm feeling smooth textures. Yes, I said. But this is just the background. Go on. The foreground will be the portrait of me and Cassandra, I said. Are you sure? She asked, furrowing her brow. She's not what you think. She's the most amazing person I've ever met. Really? Dahlia asked, with genuine curiosity. She's so funny and strong and so smart, I said, as Dahlia smiled and nodded. Her open-mindedness was refreshing. Let's get started, Dahlia said. She stood up and opened her suitcase, which was full of imported paints. She must have had at least 200 colors and 20 different brushes. Are you interested at all in pen and ink? She opened yet another case holding pens of varying thickness and wells of fine black ink. The creative possibilities were endless. I love these, I said, picking up one of the pens. I'm so into pen and ink right now, she said. And all I want to do, and I want this painting to be small. I held up my hands to demonstrate, head tilted with curiosity. People always think that bigger is better, but sometimes the most precious items are small because they're private, I said. And this was all true. But the main reason I wanted the painting to be small and light was so it could fit inside of a drawer where it could be hidden away so no one would ever guess we had been to the lagoon. Of course, I also wanted it to be small enough to fit inside Cassandra's satchel in case she still decided to leave. This piece needs to be portable. I love it, I said, her face lighting up. I actually just got the chills. And art hangs on walls, but why shouldn't it be carried? We need art with us all the time. At least I do. I smiled. I brought up some wood to make a frame, she then continued. And canvas, of course. Show me again how big you think it should be. I brought out my diary and held it up. About this side. Is that your journal? Dahlia asked. I nodded. She ran her hands over it. It's stunning. Thanks. I put a lot of thought into making it mine with a few designs. And it felt good to be appreciated. May I hold it? She asked. Yes, but I'd rather you not look inside, I said. Never, Dahlia said, admiring the flourishes that I had added to the cover to make it mine. I just wanted to feel it. These touches you added are so creative. They feel very you. Thanks, I said, amazed that someone who barely knew me could recognize that. Wait, what if we made two canvases hinged together that closed like a book? Like a locket? Dahlia said, her eyes growing wide. Mm-hmm. I said, we can finish the outside of it, so it would appear to be a book, but it would really be a double painting. Genius, Dahlia said. Let me see what hardware I have. I bet I have a clasp that will work as a binding. I also make jewelry. She nodded as she searched in the pocket of her bag. I really want to learn more about that. I made this bracelet I'm wearing. I showed her the lagoon stone in the piece of leather wrapped around my wrist. Let me see it, she said. I extended my hand. Can I hold it? Sorry, I don't really like to take it off. Why not? She asked, her inquisitive eyes meeting my own in a mini challenge. Cassandra and I had never outright said that we wouldn't take off our bracelets, But ever since I made them, neither of us had. It was as much as a part of my arm as a small freckle at the base of my thumb or the veins that crisscrossed under the pale skin of my wrist. I just want to see how it's made, Dahlia said. I would never take it. I'm impressed that you created this yourself. I think that as a princess, you'd have all the jewelry you would ever want, right? Yes, but I like to make things. Me too, Dahlia said. It's pretty much what makes me, me. And you picked such an unusual stone. Where did you find it? By the beach, I said. That wasn't a lie. It was just by the beach of the lagoon, not the ocean. If you want, I can also teach you some advanced jewelry making techniques, she said. You know what? I'm being silly. I can take it off, I said, and I untied the leather knot. Here.
No, you took it off. She made you take it off. Here I come. Chapter 29, Cassandra. Can't believe she took it off. Maybe I don't have to leave, I thought, as I wandered through the quiet marketplace after refereeing the bocce tournament. I'd been sent out there for sugar because the chefs had run out of it and the supply had to be replenished before the bake-off. Most of the vendors were at the Hidden Moon Festival, and it was peaceful. Seeing all the different shops and stalls, I was reminded of why I loved this place so much. I looked around for that annoying painter, but I didn't see her. I guess she'd gone to the festival to help Raps after all. I didn't trust that girl, but as long as they stayed in the public eye, there wasn't much harm she could do. I thought more about my options. If I stayed in Corona, I would become captain of the guard. Rapunzel would place me in the position without a doubt. If I went somewhere else, I'd be an outsider. People don't like outsiders. I don't. It could take a long time for me to find a guard position if I found one at all. At least here, I was in with the future queen. And Raps was going to be a very good queen, even though she didn't quite believe it yet. She took control when she needed to. She didn't make me feel weird about not knowing how to swim. And she was loyal, except for the part when she told Eugene about our night out. But he'd been silent. Our night out. Maybe there was part of being under the love spell. You just did what the other person said when it came to stuff like that. She definitely hadn't said anything about the lagoon to him. I was on the lookout for any knowledge he might have. The kid was an open book. It was clear he knew nothing. Plus, Raps and I were a good team. I'd been the one to discover the 3 trees, but she had been the one to unearth the ancient poem that clued me in about the lagoon. I had done the groundwork, but she had given the work a purpose by connecting it to Corona's oldest and greatest power. I had led her to the lagoon, but she had gotten me past my fear of the water. I had shown her freedom, and she had taught me how to swim. That was the thing. The captain of the guard and the royal family needed that level of cooperation. They had to work together to keep the people safe and happy. In the midst of my thoughts, I bumped right into the bakery. My stomach growled as the bakery smell wafted toward me. Blackberry rolls. I decided I should get some for Rapunzel. She loved those things. May I help you, dear? The baker asked. Yeah, I'll take 15 bags of sugar for the castle and 2 blackberry rolls to go. I handed her some coins.
Oh, sad.
I know.
This is so sad.
I know. Just gonna scoot closer to you
sad.
as I know. I can just give me some. Thank you. Okay. I don't want to read this scene. I remember this. I don't like this scene. Okay. Blackberry rolls. I decided I should get some for Rapunzel. She loved those things. May I help you, dear? The baker asked. Yeah, I'll take 15 bags of sugar for the castle and 2 blackberry rolls to go. I handed her some coins. These have become quite popular lately, she said. Ever since the princess declared them her favorite, I can't make them fast enough. Isn't she a lovely soul? She's pretty great. She smiled at me, knowingly, and placed 2 steaming buns in my basket, promising to deliver the sugar to the castle post-haste. I quickly covered the buns with a linen cloth, hoping they would still be warm when I reached Rapunzel, and then headed back toward the castle. Cassandra? Someone called. Yes, I said, turning to see Xavier at his blacksmith stall. Are you on your way to the castle? He asked. I am, I answered. I have something for Rapunzel, he said, handing me a book. It was a tattered volume, The Lost Language, Insights into Sapporian Myths and Legends, with a leather bookmark placed along its pages. I found this book last night on Marco's desk. He must have left it behind by accident. Will you bring it to her? Definitely, I said. This could hold the answers we were looking for. I was dying to open it up, but it would be so much more fun to do so with Rapunzel, to make the discovery together. Thank you so much, Xavier, I said. I'm sure this will quell the princess's voracious appetite for literature. As soon as I was out of sight, I broke into a run. I was so excited to share the book with her. I was almost out of breath when I arrived at her door. I didn't even bother to knock. I ran inside. Rapunzel, I said. She was sitting on a cushion, and Dahlia was there, with Rapunzel's bracelet in her hand. Cass, you're not supposed to be here until later, Raps said. Does my advice mean nothing to you? I asked her. She blanched. Hi, Dahlia said. We're having a private art session, so if you wouldn't mind. She was gesturing with her hand, flinging Raps's bracelet around as she did. I do mind, I said. I am Rapunzel's lady-in-waiting, and what are you doing here? We're making art. Are those blackberry buns I smell? Dahlia asked. I ignored her. It's my job to protect you, Rapunzel. You can't just have people in your room. What if something had happened to you? It'd be all my fault. It's Dahlia, Rapunzel said. She's fine, just an artist like me. I wouldn't hurt anyone, Dahlia said, the bracelet dangling from her hand. Maybe you need to make some art so that you can relax. Relax? This is a princess, I said, pointing to Rapunzel. This person is the beating heart of this entire kingdom. Though I couldn't pretend it was just that. I told Rapunzel not to trust Dahlia, and here they were in her room. Cass, she said, gently taking the bracelet from Dahlia's hand. Could she have thought I didn't see it? I think you're overreacting. It's too noisy around the castle for us to have a real conversation, and I have this special project. Stop, I said. You need to stop thinking of yourself as a girl with some kind of artistic dream and realize that your future has been determined. Cass, she said again, this time in a more pleading tone. You are the future queen, I said, and it's time you started acting like one. Hurt flashed across her face like lightning. I continued anyway. I have my destiny as well, but it's not here, and it's not with you. Whoa, Dahlia said. What exactly are you saying, Cass? Rapunzel asked. I'm saying that I'm done, I said. I'm finally leaving. Last chapter, folks. It's the last chapter.
Yes, the very last chapter.
Like
Not the very last chapter, but the last chapter of part 2.
Yeah, I like that.
Chapter 30, page 224. The look in Cassandra's eye was as fierce as a tiger's. Her mouth was drawn tight with hurt, a straight line, lips white with pressure. You're leaving now? I asked, leaping up and reaching for her hand. But the festival isn't over. We still have the ball. Where are you going? Dahlia asked. It's none of your concern, Cassandra said. Maybe it would be best if you were on your maybe it would be best if you were on your way, Dahlia, I said, as gently as possible. No, she needs to wait until after the festival. They can't know that you have a stranger in your room, Cassandra said, and you should know that by now. And yes, I'm really leaving. Did you think I was going to stay? My heart sank like a stone, and for a moment I felt like a total fool. Tears stung in my eyes. We've been having so much fun together, and yesterday was perfect because I knew what it was like to have a best friend. Pascal grimaced. A human best friend, I clarified. I noticed a book under Cassandra's arms, but she didn't seem like she wanted to share it with me. She held it close to her chest. Wait, what did you do yesterday? Dahlia asked. She really didn't seem to be able to take a hint. Nothing, I said as quickly as possible. I widened my eyes at Cassandra to let her know that I had not told Dahlia anything about the lagoon. That was still our secret. It would remain so until we decided otherwise. Cassandra cast a quick glance at Dahlia, registering her confused expression. Did you do something exciting? Dahlia asked. Cassandra and I held each other's gaze. Are not allowed? Ooh, that's it, isn't it? As an artist, I'd love to break boundaries. It's just another name for rules, you know? Artists are born to break the rules. Great choice of a friend to bring back to the castle, Raps, Cassandra said. Really stellar. We went on a simple outing, I said to Dahlia, having a hard time disguising the edge that had climbed to my voice. Dahlia tilted her head at me, assessing if I was telling the truth or not. The last few weeks have just been a lark, Cassandra said, ignoring Dahlia. You can have a little fun, Rapunzel, but I can't because I'm worried about being banished. Why would you be banished? Dahlia asked. Though I wouldn't judge you if you were. In stricter countries, artists get banished all the time because Cassandra and I both glared at her. You know, the rule-breaking thing. Sensing that Cassandra was on the verge of unsheathing one of her knives, I took a breath and said in a calm voice, Dahlia, Cassandra is being a little dramatic. There's no reason she'd ever be banished. It's a game we play sometimes. Who'd get banished first? This is not a game, Cassandra said. I'm going. But what about tomorrow? I said. We were going to. The time is now. I knew I'd be able to feel the moment when it arrived, and it's here. When you get where you're going, will you at least send word so that if I'm ever queen, you can become captain of the guard? I asked, wiping tears from my eyes. It's not if you become queen, Raps, it's when. And that would never work. The queen and the captain of the guard have to have absolute trust in one another. Please stay, I said. I couldn't imagine my life in Corona without Cassandra. Don't you at least want to figure out? Aware of Dahlia, I bit my tongue. Figure out what? Dahlia asked. Nothing, Cassandra and I said at the same time. Whoa, Dahlia said. The energy in here is wild. Let me go, Cassandra said. This is what I need to be happy. I guess if that's what you want, I said, struggling to get the words out. I want you to be happy. But don't you think you can be happy here? Not when your actions keep putting me in danger, Cassandra said. Are you talking about me here? Dahlia asked. Because come on, isn't that just a tiny bit of an exaggeration? Your head is in the clouds, Cassandra said, ignoring Dahlia. And that's a luxury only the barefoot princess can afford. I'm going. But I started, approaching her with my arms held out. Let me go, Cassandra said, stepping backward. If you want me to be happy, let me go. Okay, I said, my hands up in surrender. Okay. She placed 2 blackberry buns on my table, in the same spot where I had first served her cookies, and then she left. My chest felt narrow and tight as the gulch by the lagoon. Pascal tugged at my dress. He pointed at the door as if to tell me to go after her. But I want her to be happy, I said to him. Are you okay? Dahlia asked. I shook my head. I don't know if she's the amazing person you think she is. That seemed really dramatic. I mean, I'm an artist. I once wove a dress of corn silk to make a statement about the treatment of silkworms, and even I thought that was a little over the top. I could barely hear her because my heart was thumping so loudly in my ears. I'm starving, she said. Would you mind if I had one of those blackberry rolls? Go right ahead, I said. I had no appetite anyway. But as she ripped one of them in half, I had to look away. You know, Dahlia said with her mouth full. If you're looking for a new lady in waiting, I'm open to it. We could even redecorate. I might suggest some earth tones. Dahlia, if you don't mind, I need a little quiet time right now, I said. I walked to my window and touched my forehead against the glass. The world outside had never looked so big and so empty.
I'm screaming.
And that is the end of part 2.
I didn't think that was in part 2. I thought that was part 3. Oh no! And Rapunzel threw Dahlia out the window.
That's right.
Yes. Part 3. Oh my god. I forgot about the blackberry bun thing. That is just.
Aw, thank you guys. I'm so glad that people can be engaged, yeah, in our reading.
Yeah.
Because none of us obviously are professional readers and not very good public speakers. So
yeah. But I'm glad that you can like follow along and enjoy our fangirling, I guess you could say, during it. We break a lot. We don't know how to say all of these kingdoms in this verse because I don't know what
I don't know how to
any of these are.
5.
What was the one that was like Skyrim? It
was like ska.
Scarone.
It was spelled like SKA S-C-A-R-O-N, Scaron.
Cass was really affirmative about their friendship. Yeah, so she was so happy. So basically she has trust issues. We know that.
Mhm.
And she got very jealous.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about the bun thing though. She was like, I'm so excited. I think this is going to work. We trust each other.
Which always happens whenever a
Yeah.
character lets their guard down and it's just like, yeah, and they're excited.
Oh my God, they're your favorite
Classic.
blackberry buns. I'm so excited to go over together. I didn't even knock. I ran inside and there's another woman
In Rapunzel's bedroom.
in Rapunzel's bedroom holding the bracelet that she never took off. And what a great shift in Dahlia's character at the end. When she breaks the bun in half, eats it, and then talks with her mouth full and says, I could be your lady in waiting.
Yeah.
What a great moment.
It's like suddenly she's just like totally insane.
Yeah, like suddenly she just changes in Rapunzel's point of view to this just kind of not great person. Like, oh, maybe she shouldn't have like let her in, and oh, like she's not so great. She just kind of wants in. Jeez. Beginnings bracelets. Oh, beginnings bracelets. Yes, we have those.
Somewhere. I don't know where mine is.
I have mine over there, but we don't know where yours is. We made them. Like the day it came out, we got the beads. I'll grab mine though.
I last saw mine at Capsicon, so it's probably in the case.
Yeah. Oh, mine like shattered.
Oh.
That's weird. I lost one. Yeah, so isn't it interesting? Oh yeah, and the Adira. So basically what the show kind of took from the book is the beginnings bracelets and then the trust issues with Adira, which is interesting because it's that whole like, don't you trust me? Don't you trust my judgment? So I really have to wonder, like the themes are so strong in this book about destiny and trust and the guard and the future. And it all lines up so well with like the use of the words in like the third season of the show that I'm curious. I want to know, like, did they read the book a lot? Like,
well,
I don't know.
In the second book,
this said Cassandra on it, but it faded away.
Yeah, it chipped off.
It chipped, but
woo. In the Vanishing Village, there's a lot more.
Don't they go to Varderos?
Yeah, there's a little more like, I guess like sort of insertion of stuff from the show, from what I remember. But we also didn't finish it.
We also didn't finish it because I almost died.
Oops.
Oh,
where did we leave off? We left off on page 155 of the Vanishing Village.
Yes. So
look at Cass. She's like climbing on Rapunzel's hair.
What a great. So she started out side by side, and then by this she's like, nope. Guess I'm down here. I'm still here, but I'm down here. Replaced. So that was part 2. It was a week before. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, so it was in that we were like, we're on the road because she's wearing her travel vest.
Yeah, and the whole caravan and everything's in this.
Yeah.
Is Lance in this?
I don't remember. I thought Lance. Oh, yep, boop, Lance.
Okay,
boom. Yeah, Lance is in this. Oh, okay, cool. It's been a couple years. Like we said, it's been a few years since this one. But yeah, I do want to read this one after.
Yeah.
Because I do remember having a great time with it until I almost fell into the fire.
And died.
Literally. But we will tell that story when it comes time for that. That's a great story. But yeah, so yeah, wow. I almost cried. I really forgot about
Yeah, it's sad.
the sort of affair, jealousy, other woman replacing her thing, and how
Pascal lighting a fire.
Pascal lights the fire. How interesting is it that like Rapunzel is trying to do something for Cass, and
it's like a classic like sitcom couple misunderstanding thing.
Yeah, it is, and it's hard not to read. I mean, at least from our lens and from like a Sunzel lens, it is hard not to read that and think, wow, here's the other woman, here's the like suspected affair, here's the jealousy, now I'm leaving. It's written in such a way that it's like, this is some intense friendship.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I don't know. That's quite the friendship. So it's interesting. But yeah, so thank you for staying with us for like 3 hours or coming in and out, or just watching now or whatever. Thank you. We made it through part 2. It's the longest. Part 3 is very short, so the next video is probably only going to be under an hour.
Yeah.
But the third part is my favorite because something very special happens between the two of them, which I won't say for those of you that haven't read it yet. But yeah, the bracelets. We've had these for a long time.
Yeah, we made them right after we
made
finished.
them. Yeah, right after we finished, we went to the Michael's and we got stones, and then we took them to my dad, and we said, "Hey, can you drill a hole in these stones for us so we can make bracelets?" And he almost broke his drill doing it.
The stone like shattered and was like,
yeah, the stone like exploded. Yeah, the moonstone. And yeah, we were like, okay. So we went back and we found this one, which looked like the original, but it wasn't a square, obviously. But but it has the hooks, so it works. And we do love how they shine.
Yeah, and it's cute. It's a cute little addition to have to the cosplay.
Yeah, and we did wear these too. And I thought it was interesting that they went with
bracelet
beginnings. Yeah, bracelets, because they could have just done the lagoon, but it was a way to sort of like a nod to the lagoon, and everything. And they also did in one of the books, in one of the comics, they had a Dahlia sort of character. Where Cass got jealous because, it was like a girl with a similar childhood. She was also artsy. She spent every moment. And then Cass was like, "We're really busy. You have a lot to do." And then Rapunzel was like, "Are you jealous?" And she was like, "Yeah, because you have everything in common and you spend a lot of time together." And Raps was like, "But you're amazing. You're the most amazing person I've ever met." So anyway, all right. Well, we are going to sign off for the evening.
We'll probably do part 3 on Tuesday.
The red hair girl. Yes, it was the red hair girl. I don't remember. But the red hair girl is Dahlia in the lagoon.
Oh.
Yeah, because they mentioned her. That's how they describe her at the beginning. So I don't think her name is Dahlia in the comics. Be very in. But yeah, so part 3 will probably be on Tuesday, considering our 2-day thing. At 3 same time. And then we'll finish it up. And then if we want to keep going, we'll do Vanishing Village to get us through, this crazy, crazy world right now and have everyone read along. It's kind of nice to have sort of a little book club kind of thing and to revisit the books makes me really happy. And it's really nice to sort of bring people together and have story time, just like the librarian in the book for the Flower Moon. And the Flower Moon just happened.
Yeah, it did.
Like a couple days ago.
Yeah, last Thursday or something.
The Flower Moon happened actually last week. So very good timing for the book. So anyway, all right. Well, thank you guys so much. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Queen.
Please hug your mom.
To Queen Ariana. And yes, hug your mom. And if
hug your moms, hug your mom figures.
Yes.
Hug your dads.
Hug your dad. Hug, whatever figure is important in your life. Hug the people you love. And if today is hard, hug the people you love extra hard.
Exactly.
So, but thank you guys, and tune in next time to finish the best book in the world.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Pascal's going to light more fires. That's right. And Rapunzel pushes Dahlia out a window. Stay tuned, folks.
Oh boy.
It's going to happen. All righty. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye. And end.
Ooh.